Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Rancho, your host. It is Friday night, 9:33 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, it's already tomorrow. No time to waste. Let's hop in. Let's get into, I believe, the new contest today. They dropped a Frenchie. The puppy did close. I wound up with 45 total puppy teams. And my last one, I actually ended up losing some reception and ended up on auto down the stretch on that one, unfortunately. Bummer. That one could have been good, but the previous ones I did off stream, I was really happy with. So, sometimes it happens when you're multi-tabling, but we are going to hop into the Frenchie Eliminator today. Haven't done any single Eliminator teams, and for $3 a pop, 20 max, I definitely think this is where I want to get my feet wet. I don't plan to do any regular Eliminators until I know a lot more information down the stretch. And I think this is a very good opportunity to get some practice reps. So we're going to do maybe 3 Eliminators. We'll see how quickly they go. But at $3 a piece, I'm down. This is the contest for this evening. So the Frenchie Eliminator time box. Love that about this. Nobody gets a big advantage. There's no slow drafts in this. You're probably not going to be able to enter about a week from now. So let's hop in. I'm going to give you a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And this one filled instantly. So maybe you're in the next lobby. Maybe you clicked it right when I started counting. I see Game Tight. Definitely Game Tight is in here. Otherwise, not too many familiar names. And at $3 a pop, I'm not surprised that this thing is filling pretty fast, especially if you're on the West Coast. It's not very late at all. Friday night, if you got nothing better to do, for $3, I'm sure I'm not the only one. But at this stage of the game, I'm more so looking for what the ADP looks like. And I definitely have some players I want to target a little bit more than others in this range for the sole purpose of their schedule and when the bye week is. Maybe it's worth looking into a little bit more what the matchups are. But at least right now, one thing I can say for certain is if you make it to week 5 and 3 of your starters are on bye, you're probably screwed. Probably might be screwed. Also, stacking is not as critical in this. If anything, stacking has some downside to it. The variance is maybe not what you want to lean into. This will be an interesting strategy. Probably won't deviate too much, at least in the earlier rounds. But let me get to the chat. Welcome everyone in. Jamie's in here. Yep, in the middle of the night, we are alive tonight. Captain Spock, I did a Cam Ward, Carnell Tate stack today. Tried to do a contrarian lineup. Not too bad. I do like the Cam Ward's. Cam Ward's price is really affordable, and he does have, I think, untapped upside. When you look at his college season, right before he got drafted, he actually dominated. He was really, really good. Maybe I'll check that out right after this pick. I would have liked Jonathan Taylor there. Saw that the bye week was pretty late, so that's a tiebreaker. And if we're going wide out here, why not lean into that even more? We're going to take the week 14 bye. I think that puts CeeDee Lamb at the top of this tier in context. He can make it later in the season when you have fewer opponents to worry about. Like if you actually make it to week 14, the amount of people that are still alive are pretty slim. In this contest, there's only 2 people in week 17. So week 16 has 4 people, 8 people in week 15, and then 16 people in week 14. I'm not as worried about a bye week influencing my starting lineup as much down the stretch. Obviously, you got to eat the bye week eventually, but if I can get it later than everyone else, it's just going to give me one little advantage when that matchup happens. Now, I have not played many Eliminators, but from the basic strategy standpoint, I think it's a little bit more compelling. But sadly, everybody else knows that. I might be making a big mistake, but I'm going to stick with it. I think today, when I don't really know too much in terms of practicing in this format, that's going to be my major tiebreaker because I don't need to be the best team in the week. I don't need to be the best team on the week. I just need to make it to the 1v1s and not have the worst lineup. So right now, I'm going to favor the bye week. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should just take talent. But Kenneth Walker has a week 5 bye. That's tough. That's a little tougher. Not going to lie. I'm in the middle of writing a song about the best ball community. Good luck, Jamie. Sounds exciting. Jamie has awesome music. Speaking of which, maybe we bring in. I think I'm going to put it pretty low because it is late, and maybe you're in an environment where you don't want it too high. But I think we will bring it in. Nice light baseball. Yeah, not too light, but just what is good game tight? Yeah, I would agree. This is just like the other French. Those two last little, but they did have wider fields, I think, and I think for $10 with everything else that Underdog was offering. Like last week, I really wanted to do the Frenchies, but the deal they had on Best Ball Mania, they had a free BBM, which I have to use in the next couple days. Maybe we do it tonight. Okay, maybe we do it tonight. I'm gonna make this pick, and then we'll have a light goal for our Best Ball Mania entry. If we don't hit it, we'll just do it tomorrow. But I'm gonna stick to running back, and once again, we're gonna go week 11 bye. I'm trying to get some money in this thing, and it starts paying out once you make it to like week 7 or something. So I just want guys on the field, and honestly, I think Kyron is a really good pick in this range. Like I said, maybe I messed up passing on Kenneth Walker or Chase Brown, but week 5 bye can't be good. What's up, Shamrock? How we doing? Jamie, I'm only including all the great best ball guys, and your name. Appreciate that compliment, man. I think there's a lot of great best ball guys in the space. Really good content all throughout. So it's been a blast to get my feet wetter in the pool this season. Like, I still kind of feel like I'm getting everything sorted out, but a year ago I felt like a complete newbie in regards to the live streaming situation. But interesting, Lamar going early. I'm gonna go Cam Scattaboo. Now, you might be saying he's worthless at the beginning, but I think I need to compensate for this week 11 bye. And I think if I make it down the stretch, we're in business. Maybe Scattaboo isn't the best pick in this format, but I also want to get real talent and upset. I still think that's part of the deal. You know, it's still best ball. I don't want everyone to be extremely mid. And going Jacobs as our RB1, like there's kind of a cap ceiling with Jacobs. He doesn't quite catch passes. Oh shit. Are we good? If anything, maybe I should turn the music off. Testing. Let me know if that's better. But we will see if 3 RBs is the proper way to go. through 4 rounds. We start with the anchor CeeDee Lamb at wideout, the last buy you can find. Okay, but if it was good even before, then I suppose we can bring it back in. Just we'll keep it at 11. Usually I bring it up at 17, so I'll keep it at 11 just for the vibes. Because if we're going to go until like midnight, I'm planning to do at least 2 hours, which puts us basically at midnight. I'll make this pick, and then we'll set the like goal for a BBM. But if not, we'll just stay in the Frenchie. Burden here in the 5th round. I mean, at this point, it's kind of pick 56. I know it's a different format, but why not? I'm trying to favor late buys, so week 10, some good players off the board already. Why not? Okay. Let's find the likes today. My bad. Okay. I think if we get to 33 likes, we'll do Best Ball Mania. All right. We're back on the clock. Receiver position isn't phenomenal, but you know who's like one of the safest fucking picks? I think Tyler Warren is actually really, really solid in this because there is a level of floor. You pair that with a really, really late buy, and just like I think you guarantee top 10 production every week out of Tyler Warren. Like they lost Michael Pittman. The volume is there, locked in with Tyler Warren. I think that's actually a really, really legit pick all around. But we did just see Colston Loveland fall to pick 63. Maybe I'm underestimating or overestimating just how valuable tight end is. But I think for the profile of what Tyler Warren offers, like he could average like 11 targets a game. So I want a floor that's locked in. I think Tyler Warren offers that, but perhaps it wasn't the right move. I do think he's a good fit though in this format. But like I said, this is my first eliminator. I'm not an expert in this in these streets. I'm getting my feet wet for sure. But thank you, Shamrock, Captain Spock. I like Lad's ADP. I've been bagging a bunch of him. I think it could be a little better. I think rounds 4 and 5 are a little interchangeable. I think some of the picks are not that much different than who goes in round 5, and it's just kind of like arbitrarily the price you're paying on some guys that, you know, like Ted McMillan goes pick 39. DJ Moore just went pick 58 in this. I don't know if they're that much different, you know, like I could see them having identical stat lines or just DJ Moore being better. Like sometimes it's weird. So Lad is kind of in that conversation. He goes a little early, but also justifiably early. Last year, though, he was going in round 2. And when he goes off, he fucking dominates. He really does deliver when he is the man that week. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just a hot hand approach in LA. But when it's Ladd McConkey's turn, watch out. So I think it's pretty compelling. You want a piece of the Chargers offense, and the price is not bad. Speaking of Chargers, I'm going to go Justin Herbert. Week 7 bye, not perfect, but I think a very consistent floor, and also the ability to drop the best score on the week. I think with the Mike McDaniel addition too, it's really hard to find a hole in the argument. There's just not many leaks in the Chargers. I'm wearing the hat. I think I need to, own up to the bias, but like, it just feels like such a safe bet this year. It really does. Look, if it's not a safe bet, it's because Herbert is actually overrated. But I think when there's finally no excuses, it just has to hit. And if he doesn't deliver, then he deserves a shit ton of criticism. Because everything is lined up perfectly for him. Really. Like, if he can't fucking do it this year, it's pretty sad. I don't think the regular season is a problem at all. We'll see about the playoffs, but there are no excuses left. I like J.K. Dobbins in this format. As long as he starts the year early, I mean, I have Scadaboo. I think Scadaboo and Dobbins offer a good partnership in this setting. Because if Scadaboo starts off really slow or just not on the field, I'm going to get a high floor contribution out of Dobbins. I don't worry about Jonah Coleman week 1. I don't think that's something that he can steal away from Dobbins in training camp. Unless Dobbins gets hurt in training camp, I think he's going to deliver in September and October. He will inevitably break down, and once that happens, I'm worried about RJ Harvey because Jonah Coleman probably steps up into that role. I don't think Harvey can handle the full backfield. So it's Dobbins' role until he goes down is how I see Denver. And then I think it's up for grabs, but I think Coleman will stay enough involved to where Harvey is just not going to be as elite as he was last year when he stepped in. But Harvey can still like crush in the passing game because Dobbins just isn't used that way. So it's a frustrating room, but from a floor standpoint, I think in the Eliminator, especially with early season production mattering so much more, I think you got to go J.K. Dobbins in Denver. So I think he's a really good price in this format. I love Rico Dowdle, but I think Rico is actually going to take a minute to take the job. Give me October 10th, October 20th, mid-October. I think that's when Rico's going to undeniably be the guy you clearly want. So down the stretch, I think Rico's great, but to set it up, I think Warren probably in the Eliminator has a little bit more value. September is if you don't advance to week 2, nothing else matters. You need to fucking deliver week 1. So at this point, only injury is to blame. And with a week 10 bye, Dobbins is in the clear in terms of my tiebreaker today. And like I said, I might not have the right strategy. I might be wrong. And maybe I'll mix up things in terms of strategy down the line. Maybe I'll have different approaches to everything. But today, no, I want some floor plays. I want some locked in pieces. And then I also want players that are going to not miss a game due to the schedule until the double-digit weeks. So far, the only exception is Herbert, who's just a really good quarterback, and then Scadaboo, who I think if you can sneak Scadaboo down the stretch and he has the job, it's going to be tough to take down. So I do want to try and target a few pieces that can really, hit the high upside down the stretch. Because it thins out pretty quickly. And even if Scadaboo Isn't available till like week 5. Probably not going to be the most owned player. So if we're going to go mid and just like steady elsewhere, let's take at least one risky swing. One home run attempt. Not everything should be a bunt in this format either. I'll just get back in at quarterback before that dries up. I'll go Baker Mayfield. Getting a pretty high floor with just volume at quarterback, I think, is also important. There's not going to be the same caliber player on the way back at that position. So it doesn't quite fit for a stack, but like I said earlier, I don't think that's really critical in this format too much. I think it's kind of just best player available, and then your, minor nuance tiebreakers. At least today, I'm going with bye week, but volume over everything, and touchdowns matter most. The Bucs are capable of giving Baker a top 5 season again. He was an MVP candidate early on, and then everyone got hurt. He even got kind of banged up. At least to start the year, Baker was really, really good. He doesn't have Mike Evans this year. Will Ted Hurst fit the bill? Yet to be determined. Why is Loveland going so high? Because in best ball, Colston Loveland is a player that can drop 30 points. Not many tight ends have the same ceiling as Colston Loveland. And that matters in best ball. You need the spike week, especially at a onesie position. But I like this format, but I'm going to max Sweat Lord, the time element of it, probably as in waits as long as possible. To each their own. Everyone's got to get their own strategy. I sure would like Khalil Shakir here. I think I'm getting sniped, but yeah. Good pick. Very good pick in this. Damn. That would have been great. Fuck it. I'm just going to pull him up because I have no idea what to expect from Concepcion Higgins. And to an extent, even Coker week 1. Coker's a spike week type of guy. Need a deep shot touchdown, and those don't hit too often in Carolina. So if anything, just give me Diggs with the chance of being a wide receiver 1 after free agency closes out. Would have loved Shakir though. I think that would have been great in this format. Week 1, Shakir, kind of money in the bank, like 9 points. If anything, Shakir in this format is really valuable. For the price, like I think where I took Josh Downs, Shakir is probably in the same ballpark. For the Eliminator and just the lack of like uncertainty, Shakir is not impressive, but he's also so mid enough to never like disappoint you. Like he's almost never giving you like a 10-yard gain. Kind of want to go Daniel Jones for this stack, but it feels a little unnecessary. But it is there. Fuck it. I have both Josh Downs and Tyler Warren. Why not? It's kind of like the Scatterboo approach. I want to take one home run swing every now and then. Jamie, yes, that is true. Garage, his username is Candyman. Never mind. It's 25% full. This community is full of freaks. It's $3 a pop, man. What's the first prize payout? That I didn't even check though. I'll be honest, I didn't even check it. For 10K up top, I think if you do 5 of them, you're in for 15. I think you can realistically get, you know, if you're a really good drafter, I'm not going to sink everything into this. Probably not worth sinking $60 for only 10K. Probably worth more of your time elsewhere. But I'm going to do a few of these. That's for sure. We'll do a few. Let's check. We're at 12 likes. If we hit 33, we're doing a Best Ball Mania. We are currently in the Frenchie Eliminator for $3. But I earned a free BBM. We will absolutely use it before it expires. So far, the team is not bad. I like having 3 quarterbacks at this point. That's not a position I want to mess around with. And I think the first 2 are good enough where even if I have to wait on Daniel Jones a little bit, I think his late buy comes in handy. But Jalen McMillan stacks up. He's all right. I'm a little worried about Ted Hurst, but I think Ted Hurst might take a minute to deliver, whereas Jalen McMillan probably has some value early on. But I don't know. The more I've been thinking about Jalen McMillan recently, it's starting to feel like a pick that could probably go around Isaac Tesla, if not later. Like, there might not be much of a difference between Jalen McMillan and Torrey Horton. And Torrey Horton's far, far less expensive. So perhaps it's not the best move here. Warren over Loveland and Shamrock's opinion. I don't know if I would go that far, but for the purpose of a floor play, I think you're getting safer weekly output out of Tyler Warren. I've been clicking Tyler Warren a little bit more lately. Devo's probably a solid pick in this. Don't need a quarterback. I think my running back room is fine. Yeah, let's get back in at receiver. And Devo with some rushing usage. Probably like 80 or so targets this year. I would assume just over 80 touches in terms of target, I guess, opportunities. Targets and rush attempts combined, you're getting about 5 per game. And for Devo, you know, some weeks it's going to be like 8 or 9. Some weeks it's going to be like 3 or 4. But floor play wise with touchdown appeal, I think he's a savvy enough veteran to be worth my time. And this is kind of why I took Tyler Warren in this. I kind of didn't want to fuck around with some of the high variance tight ends. Like the whole purpose of like fading tight end is that, you know, you get a mix and match of the later options, because as good as they might be in one week, they're not going to deliver all the time. Playing the, you know, multi tight end late round strategy in this, I think, is a little bit more risky than just locking up a shit ton of volume. If anything, I think Colston Loveland might be more valuable in this, like the elite tight ends. But I can understand why he fell in this for sure. Running back had a big run. Wide receiver was falling too. I'm not used to this, so maybe there's a really cheap price on Loveland today. Maybe it's a fair price, but at least from my standpoint, I was willing to take Warren right after him. What's up, Anthony? Spurs lost, man. It's okay. We will get them next time and tie the series. I'm ready to draft. Sweet. I'm rooting for the Spurs. I'm not really watching the NBA anymore, but if you told me there's a team alive among the ones I'm aware of, we got OKC and San Antonio, Cleveland, and the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, that's going to be embarrassing, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. I think I need tight end points. I'm going to go Pat Freiermuth, probably one of the safest picks on the board at this position, and absolutely mispriced. We'll go Pat Freiermuth for sure. Very safe pick, given the round 15 capital. I am reaching, but at this stage of the draft, you got to get your guys. Last 4 rounds, particularly, just get your guys. Smashing that like, says Game Type. Appreciate you. Rony Baloney, are the Chargers bringing back Keenan? I don't think so. If I had to guess, I wouldn't think so. Captain Spock, it looks like they won't bring back Keenan. I wouldn't put money on that. If Keenan plays again, I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be kind of surprised if he reunited with the Chargers and they didn't have like a catastrophic injury like they did last year. Like last year, they didn't even plan to bring him back. They brought back Mike Williams, and Mike Williams is kind of washed a little bit. He had some injury problems. Not sure Mike Williams is going to be like the focal point of the offense. I think they really wanted to develop Trey Harris, actually. And then because Mike Williams went down, it made perfect sense to just bring in Keenan. And Keenan brings a lot more weight to the locker room, given he was not majorly injured, and on the brink of retirement. Like Keenan's older than Mike Williams, and Keenan's still, mulling over if he's going to play not this year. Mike Williams is firmly established as retired as of a year ago. Should maybe get back in at running back. And why not go for that, that home run swing that I am so fond of? Come on down, Bigsby. RB5 when Dobbins is my 4th. That's pretty chill. Also week 10 bye, but Bigsby isn't really seeing the field early on in the year. At this stage, you're getting a 0 until you're not. Bigsby is never cracking the lineup until he does, and that's when you are going to be really, really sad you don't have him. Because if he's the Eagles' RB1, he's a top 12 play. Any given week, he can deliver. He will get that lion's share of the volume. He will get at least 17, if not 20 plus touches. He's kept Will Shipley off the field last year. So unless Shipley just randomly gets his shit together, which sometimes happens, let's not, pretend that sometimes happens. Sometimes it's like this guy never woke up forever, and then one day it's just like, oh, yeah, I know how to do this now. Usually correlates with trying to get paid, but that's where Bigsby comes in. Bigsby's in a contract season. If Bigsby gets the ball, he is earning his next paycheck. All Bigsby needs is the ball. But he goes this late because he never gets the ball. Saquon might go down, though. Saquon's getting a little older. Noticed you changed your strategy a bit this year. Usually went wide receiver heavy early last year, but this year you're pushing RBs early. You got to read the room, like last year, the wide receiver room was just so coveted. You really fell behind if you didn't address the position pretty quickly. So last year was last year. This year is this year. And to quote The Wire, yesterday's price is not today's price. Running back's much more expensive this year. That feels like an early season contributor. Not many safe bets in Miami, but Malik is a decent floor play. He has a week 6 bye, so not great. But if we're spending dirt cheap prices at this point, it's not like I'm expecting anything from them in the first place. So anything he can do, if he hits the lineup at all, It's not bad, and we need somebody to hit our lineup when the earlier guys are away. When Burden and McMillan aren't playing week 10, we need somebody else. But not sure when Diggs and Debo are going to be on bye. That's also random, but I think my starting lineup is going to be fine for a while. Not anything to worry about until week 7, really. That's the only time a player I'm really counting on is missing, but that's why we go 3 quarterbacks. We're not really counting on any particular quarterback, just trusting that the high score will come when it needs to. Herbert, Baker, Daniel Jones, Jacobs, Kyron, Scatabo, Dobbins, and Bigsby. I really like this Dobbins and Scatabo combo, especially when I already have 2 that I feel good about up top. Pretty safe bet. And I think by the time we hit week 11, as long as Dobbins is still healthy, I think we'll get a pretty good week 11 out of this duo. And who knows, maybe Bigsby comes off the bye as the starter. Fingers crossed. But might need somebody else at running back, to be honest. I think wide receivers good enough with these 7. Tight end, I think I'm going to stop with Warren and Freiermuth. Trust that Warren is really the piece I need for the floor every week. High production is typically the case for Tyler Warren. Give me running back on this last pick. Don't want to fuck around too much. It's tough, though. I think I'll go Najee Harris on this. Like, I never fucking take him, but if you're telling me somebody does sign Najee and he is part of their backfield, like, he actually feels like he'll get touches. It's just a matter of, like, if he's retiring or not. Like, is he Joe Mixon or not? I can't imagine he's dead like Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, I'm not considering at all. But at least with Najee, he could come back from a torn Achilles. Wouldn't put it completely past him. Wiser people than myself take Najee quite often. And quite often in these streets is like, 5% of the time. This is my first Najee click in like almost a month. Maybe more than a month. I have not clicked Najee at all. But if you told me Najee is not a 0 this year, then I think for the floor and like early season touches, he's either 0 or something. So fuck it. Today we go Najee, but yikes, don't feel good about that too often. Not sure I like it. That might have been a wasted click, but at least it's the last round. We're trying something different. Tight end, though, Tyler Warren, Pat Freiermuth, I think is good. Wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb as our anchor. Luther Burden, Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs. Need him in Vegas or somewhere that really, really wants him. And then McMillan, I'm hoping gets the routes early in the season. The snaps could dwindle fast for Jalen, though. But hard to know for sure how much he'll be on the field. It's pretty crowded there. Debo, not sure where he goes, but I think he'll get some work. And then Malik Washington probably does something early on. Let's hope for the best. But running back, I think, is good enough. Might regret not taking Kenneth Walker, but I think Josh Jacobs, for today's exercise, had the tiebreaker I was looking for. I might be wrong, though. I genuinely have no fucking clue. Maybe I should just take in Ken Walker. Anyways, we had Game Titan here. He had pick 6. He went Taylor McBride. Interesting to take McBride at 19 in this. I'm a little surprised, but that makes my Tyler Warren click feel better. I'll say that. If Game Tight highly coveting someone like McBride. Javonte in the 3rd. Wanted running back. Ibuka in the 4th. Jadarian in the 5th. Again, wanted running back. Harrison, round 6. You're not afraid of your Cardinals on this one. Dowdle getting back in at running back again in the 7th. Michael Wilson just piling it on in Arizona. Bold. Kyle Pitts, Jordan Mason, another running back. I think that's his 5th and final running back. Yep. Malik Willis, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Tucker, Jacoby Brisket. I mean, Brisket should get the Rock week 1, but he also has a contract holdout right now. Not sure about that. That could be a problem, but you're completely committed to Arizona. You don't give a shit. Game tight. You are trusting in Mr. Brisket. Denzel Boston, Darnell Mooney, A.D. Mitchell, and Carson Beck. Give me every fucking Arizona Cardinals passing game piece. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. But you know what? If you're gonna go in that direction, triple the fuck down. That's fun. That's fun. All right. Let me catch up with the chat, and then we'll do another one. Warren can give you big numbers, but more consistent than Loveland with those crowded targets. Right. Fair point, Jamie. Superflex pays more. Let's go Cavs. You got it right. Hoping it's Cavs versus Spurs in the finals. Will who as of right now? Will who what? Is Dobbins even healthy? I think so. He would, if they made it to the Super Bowl, he would have played. I think so. Anthony says nice pick. I think on Najee, it's all right. Getting in late, the Frenchie elims are fun. Yeah, I think we're gonna do one more, especially for $3. There's definitely no reason not to. All right, let me check the likes. We're sitting at 17, and our like goal for a BBM, which may not happen tonight. Who knows? That'll be up to you. Y'all will decide. If not, it'll happen tomorrow. We will get in at 33 likes. But so far, we're in the Frenchie Eliminator. And I think, even personally, I might prefer to just do the BBM tomorrow when I'm not as tired. But either way, we're getting it done. Anyways, hopping into the Frenchie Eliminator in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 3 spots left. Good little opportunity. Filled pretty quickly. And y'all might find this shocking. But I caved on a stance I had been previously kind of dragging my feet with, in all honesty. Oh, I think I still have some in here. Not only did I get a new pipe today. Here, let's go. I got a new pipe today. We go blue this time. I also got a grinder. Have not had a grinder in like over 2 years. Finally caved. We're not grinding it by hand anymore. All right. I get pick 9. We get 017 Soups in here next to us at pick 10. We got Spurs G at the 12. Might have drafted with Lone Wolf before, but not totally sure. He's at pick 11. And then Dane at pick 7. Pretty sure we're drafting with Dane. And then not totally sure if anyone other than Michael Wave, the Michael Wave, I think might be in here. Maybe. Not totally sure. Anthony got the last pick. Go Spurs. Wait till you have to clean your grinder. Keef time. I know, right? There's things to look forward to. I still have my first grinder from back when I was in college. It lasted quite a while for me. And then it got a little too rickety. Missed the cut. Son of a bitch. Or Sob. I read that SOB. Sure, I'll go Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with a running back this time. We go with CeeDee Lamb, who in this draft goes pick 6. So Daddy Bana also favoring the late bye week, but that also applies to Taylor. Josh Allen at the 1-2 turn. Damn. Pick 13. Josh Allen. Didn't think I would see it. Ooh. All right. I'm actually hoping it's Saquon. He goes to Supso. In this case, I kind of don't want to double up on week 13 buys like I did with the last team, but it is kind of speaking to me, not going to lie. I mean, why not? You know? But actually, nah. I'm going to take my boy. I'm going to take Hampton. If there's one guy I'm going to take and disregard the buy, it's Hampton. Also, the more I thought about it when Herbert was on our team in the last one, week 7's hard to get to anyways. You know, like the odds you make it to week 7 are kind of slim. So if that's the earliest buy you have and you only have 1 or 2 players, you know, before week 8, week 9, I don't think that's the end of the world. But to draft them so early on, and get an early buy, perhaps a bummer. All right, my bad. I'm responding to a text, but I'm still here. We see Ken Walker go pick 17, Derrick Henry 18, Achane at 19, and then McBride and Bowers 2021. Got to get the Keith pucks grinding by hand. Damn. You know, there was something kind of therapeutic about it. I think there was something. I liked how tactile it was, but yeah. Going back to it, the speed is so much different. Achane at 19 is crazy. Y'all slipping. Peppertoni not gonna let that happen. But the week 6 buy is not valuable in my eyes. Not great. I did take a week 7, but Walker at week 5, or we double up at week 13. I just took my boy. What draft position have you liked the most so far drafting for 2026? I think top 3 is pretty ideal, but I don't mind pick 11, pick 9, pick 10. I think I kind of want to be close to the bookend, as opposed to in the middle. I've gotten a shit ton of picks in the middle though. I uploaded my CSV into, okay, where we go here actually. Do I just take Neighbors at 33? I mean, like, maybe this is a really bad pick. Actually, I'm gonna go. I kind of wanted to go Chris Olave at the last second, but I don't think I got it in. Devontae's still pretty good. I'm forgetting who he plays week 1, but I just remembered that Olave plays Detroit in week 1, and that game's going to be a shootout. Olave is going to deliver week 1 for sure, because Jordan Tyson might have a slightly slow build up, but Devontae, assuming that trade goes through, probably a great pick as well. All pretty close. Yeah, the Eliminator, I feel like you can kind of justify different things sometimes. Back on the clock though. I mean, Garrett Wilson got a late buy. That's not too bad. I could just take David Montgomery though. High floor play for sure. Yeah, who knows if Garrett Wilson has anything guaranteed. Let's go David Montgomery. Definitely something is guaranteed for him week 1. Yeah, unless Monty goes down, he's a pretty safe pick. I get why his ADP is higher in this for sure. And I did kind of like my team with those 3 early running backs. Just keep it Keep it moving, keep it safe. And then in week 7, we'll still have Monty. Week 8, when he's on bye, we'll have Hampton coming back. Yeah. Not bad. Soups, love Monty this year, especially in the Eliminator format. Yeah, I feel like if he is not going to hit your lineup, it's because he misses time, and that's probably not going to happen until, later in the season. I think he'll be good early on. Achan, only a bad pick if he gets injured early in the season. Fair point. Don't think he's a bad pick. I mean, he's still going in round 2. It's not a bad pick. Especially in the Eliminator, you may not need RB1 on the week. You just need to be better than your opponent. But it's still the Dolphins. How many touchdowns are the Dolphins actually going to have? For Eliminator, Rocket. I'm not sure if that's in reference to Achan or maybe our Monty pick. Probably still in regards to Devon Achan. He should go in round 2. No doubt about it. Should he go at the top of round 2 when there's a big run on running back? That, I think, is up for debate. Unless he's injured, there is no one on the Texans roster that will take his job. For Montgomery, absolutely. 100%. The bull case on David Montgomery is that he's just as good as Joe Mixon was 2 years ago. And Joe Mixon had like 13 touchdowns that year. Like, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, last time we saw Joe Mixon, 11 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving, 12 touchdowns. That's still a lot. Dang, receiver kind of dried up on me, though. J-Mo is so boom bust sometimes. I mean, Rome can be the same way, but Rome got hurt. Otherwise, he was like a top 10 play. I'll go Rome, but I might have just needed to take J-Mo there. Damn, Neighbors went pick 39 in this. Holy shit. Soupso got CMC, Saquon, Olave, Neighbors in the 4th, and then J-Mo in the 5th. Thing about J-Mo, he'll win you the week, but then the next week he might give you 3 points or even less. J-Mo has no floor. Often disappears. I think from a floor standpoint, Cardinal Tate's going to be pretty effing good. I kind of want to take Daniels because he's on the thumbnail, but I'm actually a little worried about the Washington Commanders. Let's move on from quarterback in round 6. I'm starting to believe that Justin Herbert's just as good as all the other quarterbacks in the 6th round. And he goes in the 7th, sometimes the 8th round. So I'm starting to think it's worth fading the 6th round QBs a little bit. But I've been taking Herbert way too much sometimes. Like, I'm starting to trend in the 30% Justin Herbert sometimes. Like, on a given day, I might have Justin Herbert on every single team. But for the sake of a live stream, I probably shouldn't take him on every single team. Y'all would get tired of that. We got to mix it up. We got to find other ways to get it done. But what's weird, if you've been paying attention to where I'm drafting, I'm almost always in picks like 7, 8, or 9. Like, I am so often in this third of the draft. Like, on occasion I'll get pick 11, on occasion I'll get pick 1, on occasion I'll get pick 4, pick 3. But like, if you turn on just a random stream of mine, like, you can go to the list of them, just pick a random one. Odds are I'm drafting in this range. I looked at my exposure shares. And like so far, the average amount of times I should have gotten every single spot is like 15 times. I've gotten picks 7 and 8 like 25 times. It's like ridiculously in favor of picks 7 and 8. I'm almost never at pick 12. It's kind of strange. Don't sleep on Dulcich, tight end of the Dolphins. Someone has to catch passes, and he showed signs of life toward the end of the season last year. I've had my turn believing in Greg Dulcich. I've touted Greg Dulcich before. At least it's the final round. At least you have that on your side. But it's a tough thing to actually believe in when you've been so wrong about it in the past. Jawar Jordan erasure. You know what? I actually have a few Jawar Jordan teams in the big board. In the big board pre-draft contest, I actually have like 3 or 4 shares of Jawar Jordan. I think he's locked into that. We got 38 watching, only 20 likes. Smash that like button. Appreciate you, Jamie. That's what best ball is about. Got to take some risks. What other running back would you bet to have a higher multi-touchdown game than Monty, Bijan, Henry, Gibbs? Who else? I can't think of one. I mean, I think everyone going above him. I think I'm going to push quarterback again. I'll go Ramondre in this. I think Ramondre is a very safe pick. He's not going away. That's why if you don't believe in Travion, you kind of have a pretty legit leg to stand on. But Ramondre will be a decent floor play every week, I think. Similar to like a J.K. Dobbins. I think he's valuable. But might be taking him... Did we get Dobbins at 105 or 88 in the last one? I'm forgetting. I think we got him 88. But Harvey went 74. I do like Rico, but I have a shit ton of Rico. Probably have too much Rico, honestly. I've been trying to take other guys than Rico. And that's why I've just been hammering Justin Herbert. A little bit extra lately, but Best Ball Alex is laughing my ass off. Glad the grinding by hand was at least therapeutic. By the way, just found your channel this year. Love the content, bro. Fellow Cat Dad PTA superfan and Stoner. Yo, appreciate you. What's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie? Let me know, Alec. Which one is your? There's so many good ones. I think it's probably time for me to get back in at quarterback, though. Probably. I guess we're not getting back in. We're getting our first. I'll take Brock Purdy. Might be going down early this year. Who knows? Always seems to get hurt. Miss a little time. But first game of the season against the Rams. That's probably a shootout in Australia. Then he comes home. I think he has like a 3-game stretch at home. You know, how bad could that be? Let me look at the schedule. All right, here we go. This is the San Francisco 49ers schedule. Week 1 in Melbourne, Australia against the Los Angeles Rams. Then week 2, he's home to the Dolphins. That's going to be good. Home to the Cardinals the next week. That should be pretty good. Week 4 is versus Denver, but, you know, maybe we can get somebody else for week 4. Week 5 at Seattle. That's not great. Versus the Commanders, though, on Monday night should be solid. At the Falcons and then a bye in week 8. Purdy, I think, will be good for those first 3 games. and then it gets dicey. Keep smashing that like. Says Game Tight. I do mostly the Superflex. I have 30% ownership in both Bijan and Gibbs since I have gotten mostly. Fuck you. You know what, Soups? Screw you. I wish, man. That sounds like heaven. I wish. Jamie says Boogie Nights. It's The Master for me. It's a movie that grows on me each time I watch it. The Master is special. The Master is a very special movie. I saw that my freshman year in college in the theater. I remember I was pretty captivated by it, especially in the theater. Yeah, it's one thing to watch one of his movies in the theater too. One of my more recent favorites, I think, is Inherent Vice. I actually love Inherent Vice. They're all so good. Punch Drunk Love even has its, you know, gem moments. That's a great one. But There Will Be Blood is probably a masterpiece. Boogie Nights is really, really exceptional. And then I honestly didn't think what he just won for Best Director and, you know, Best Picture was actually like his best movie. I felt like it was a bit more of a, you know, career award as opposed to like, this is where you've earned it the most. I felt like they were kind of making up for, you know, some really good movies he's put out in the past that might have deserved it. But I will say he probably had the biggest imprint on that film's success this year. On One Battle After Another, his directing was very clearly on display. Yeah, I'll get back in at receiver just because we still have to start 3 wideouts every week. Can't get 2 behind. And one of my running backs is hitting my bench every week. You know, one of my running backs is not even in my lineup all the time. But at this point, Ramondre and QJ are vying for my flex. QJ, if he's not hitting, you know, 15, 20 points, hopefully Ramondre is at least giving us like 11 or 12. But I kind of wanted to go quarterback there. Might regret it. I think we have an okay out, but where's Soupso going to go? Damn, Laporta's still here. That's interesting. He goes Aaron Jones. I'm going to go Tyler Shuck, actually. Damn it. I don't think I can. Double week 8 by Bach. Here's the thing. Tyler Shuck starts off the year strong. I'm going to have a third quarterback. I'm not going to worry about it too much. We're just going to find who has the best matchup in week 8 and try to exploit that. But let's see if I was vindicated. Let's look at the schedule. Okay, Buccaneers week 1 at Cincinnati. That's pretty good. Versus Cleveland the next week, though. That's kind of bad. Versus Minnesota is terrible. Yeah, those are tough games. Versus Green Bay, kind of mid. At Dallas is good. Okay, not too bad. But weeks 2 and 3, those are tough matchups. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints, week 1 at Detroit. Week 2 at Baltimore is not very good. But then the home opener week 3 versus Las Vegas. Early on, they should deliver. I also have good matchups I like for Brock Purdy early on. So early season schedule, early season matchups are very, very important in this format. You might want to look at the week 1, week 2 schedule and pick some games. Maybe we should do that before we hop into the next one. I'm telling you to do that. Maybe I should do that myself. We collectively should take a peek at that, perhaps. But week 1, Tyler Shuck against Detroit. Week 2, Brock Purdy against the Dolphins. And then week 3, Tyler Shuck against what was it, Las Vegas? That should be pretty good. But if not, Purdy's at the Cardinals. And then week 1, he also has the Rams, which is high upside game. All right. Piecing it together, finding a way. Running back is very solid. Jonathan Taylor, Omarion Hampton, David Montgomery, and Ramondre Stevenson. I think the flex spot is pretty secure for the most part. And then Ramondre has a late bye and a decent floor. Wide receiver maybe isn't the best in the world, but we don't need it to be the best receiver room in the bunch. We just need to be top 6 week 1 and then get, more points than our opponent every week after that. We don't need to be the best score of them all any given week. Unless we play the second best score on the week. That's the only instance where that really matters. Just better than our opponent. And I think we get the volume to make it work. Devontae Smith, Rome Odunze, Cardinal Tate, Quentin Johnston. QJ a little hit or miss, but I'm willing to believe that he'll deliver early on in the year, not Trey Harris or Brennan Thompson. Those young guys will take a minute to develop. Week 1, it's Ladd and QJ. I did like Shakir the last one we were doing. Didn't get him, but I think he is pretty valuable in this type of format. Yeah. High floor play. Let's go Khalil Shakir. Can get you 9 points pretty consistently. Oh shit. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I'm very sorry. This fucking thing. I wish live streaming was my bread and butter, but that's not where the channel started. It's never how I intended the channel to go, and sometimes I'm still learning. I take Cam Ward. Let's see what his matchup is. I'm not even going to risk showing you the tab. But week 8, Cam Ward is at Cincinnati. Let's go. I did not check that in advance. We just got lucky. And we had Cardinal Tate, so we had the stack. But let's go. Cam Ward week 8 at Cincinnati should be, some garbage time at the very least. But maybe a shootout, maybe a good game. Jamie, never seen the Master. Definitely worth checking out. Master's a pretty good film. With regards to the RB multi Tampa Bay question, there are only 6 other running backs that have multiple touchdowns. I think Kyron Williams can score multiple touchdowns in a week. Let me scroll up and take a peek. Travis Etienne has shown he can do that. Brees might do it once, but probably not more than that. Hampton can do it. Hampton can definitely do it. Ken Walker can probably do it. I think most of them can do it. I mean, is it going to happen often? Probably not, but I don't think Montgomery is more of a lock to score multiple touchdowns than Hampton, who wasn't on your list, or Travis Etienne. It's still the Houston Texans and a bad O-line, but on the year, can he score 10 plus? Definitely. That's damn, I would love to see the Master in theaters. Yeah, Punch Drunk Love is lethally underrated. That was one of the first times Adam Sandler got really out of his comfort zone. And I wouldn't say Punch Drunk Love is his best film, but it's a unique and good film. It's a good ride. You can watch The Master free on Tubi. I'd highly recommend. Definitely worth your time. Ravens' first 7 weeks are a cakewalk, says A-Rod. Now you got me curious. I remember picking them to win a lot of wins early. They're at Indy week 1, then versus the Saints, versus Dallas on a neutral field, versus Tennessee, at the Falcons, at Cleveland, versus Cincy, at Buffalo, versus Jacksonville, versus the Chargers, at Carolina, then at Houston. Honestly, until the Texans game, there's not a defense that really scares me too much. But here I'll go Juwan Johnson. We got Tyler Shuck, definitely pairs well. I'll do that, and then we'll be back on the clock again, and hopefully can get another tight end. But Chig Okonkwo goes. Would have liked to have Chig. But receiver feels decent with Devontae Rome, Cardinal Tate, Quentin Johnston, Khalil Shakir. We got a double week 10 bye, double week 7 bye. Maybe that's not the best case scenario, but if we actually make it to week 10, we'll worry about that when we get there. I'm not going to draft another week 10 or 7 bye, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Schultz is kind of speaking to me in this format. Schultz is a very high floor pick. I would not say Sadiq feels that way. I don't have many tight ends, so yeah, let's get the floor play. He had 106 targets last year, 777 yards. I think in the Eliminator, Schultz is a pretty solid option, especially if you fade the position. I need targets if I'm going to wait on tight end this much. Like, we went Tyler Warren in the last one. Definitely going in different direction, and having 3 is probably my prerogative. You know what, Jamie? You actually are watching the correct Master movie. You actually are. Yeah. There's a lot of like odd dream-like scenes, and it's because the main character is a Navy veteran that would like drink torpedo fluid. Like he would drink torpedo fuel and make like crazy alcoholic pseudo concoctions, these like potions basically, while he was at sea. And so this guy is very messed up in the head, whether it's PTSD or whatever you want to call it. But yeah. And as the movie goes along, he finds his way into a cult. That cult is based on Scientology. You're in for a hell of a ride, Jamie, if you just turned on The Master. But I would argue that The Master is one of Joaquin Phoenix's best performances. Joaquin Phoenix fucking crushes this movie. So does damn, how am I forgetting his name? But the late great actor himself, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Took me a minute, but Philip Seymour Hoffman also fucking crushes this movie. He probably the perfect casting for L. Ron Hubbard you could imagine. Kind of want to take AJ Barner, but Frymuth is still there. Gunnar Helm is still there. Running back's kind of thinning out, and I could see Emmanuel Wilson contribute early on in the season. Let's take Emmanuel Wilson. Might have more of a role than we expect alongside Jadarian Price. Running back is kind of thinning out at this point. Wow, somebody took Charbonnet in the Eliminator? Good fucking luck. Holy shit. This team has Dobbins as the RB1 and took Charbonnet. That team is dead. Woody Marks, Pacheco, Charbonnet, and Kamara. I mean, unless Kamara fucking crushes to start the year and you just miraculously get lucky because, Gibbs goes down week 1 also. Pacheco takes over. I think Team 5, Tanner C100 might be dead at running back with only Dobbins and this. Woody Marks is the second. Sharbs is the fourth. No way. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I found it before I saw that. Before you wrote it. I think I did find it on my own. I'll go Freiermuth again. I think Freiermuth is a really safe pick in this. For the price and the role that he occupies, like Mike McCarthy's tight end is not bad. That's a hope lineup. Yeah. I imagine he's taken like 3 more running backs. Because, like, what the fuck is this? Woody is number 2. Jesus. You'll never catch me with that. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. That's what that makes me think of. The pants on the ground song. We need to create a best ball cult called Best Balltology. I'm not interested in a cult, Jamie. Nah, we don't need a cult. We might as well already have one. Yeah, in context, the first scene might be a what the fuck am I watching type of moment, but trust me, trust me, it becomes worth it. It becomes worth your time. But yeah, weird way to start a movie. All right, speaking of vices, let's take a little smoke break, shall we? Let's do that. But I think this team really needs receiver with the last 2 clicks. Only 5 so far, so not my strong suit. But having Shakir available this late, I think is really a saving grace. I think Shakir, especially in the Eliminator, I think really speaks to me at that discount. Let's go. Smoke it up if you got it. Hell yeah. Anthony's in the chat. Let's go. Shout out Anthony. Subscribe to Best Ball on Call if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to IDP Center and the Going for 2 podcast. $17 Soup says, I only do gummies now. Makes my chest feel much better. That's fair. Sometimes I think paired with how much talking I do sometimes, I think my vocal cords need a break sometimes. When I went to Charger games and started like actively participating vocally. Shit, what am I doing at receiver here? Fuck, this is actually a little gross. I'll go Christian Kirk, I think. Eee. Not the best. That might have been a bad click. I'm not gonna lie, not quite sure what I needed to do in that instance, but we get the Brock Purdy stack. There's that at the very least, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe we get a little bit more flex contribution at a tight end from a floor standpoint. A few more 10-point games out of these 3. than like 15 plus point games, but who knows? I would say Surratt is interesting. There's probably not Chris Bell, but also kind of want Supso to be misdirected by my cue. Trying to fake him out because originally I put Zachariah Branch at the top of my queue, but he only has 4 running backs. I think he's not taking Zachariah Branch. That's who I really want. Sweet. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. A rookie that is atop the depth chart as the wide receiver 2 right now. So at least there's that. I think he'll get the snaps week 1. Will he get the targets? I have no idea. But he'll get the snaps at least. All right, interesting team. I'm still trying to figure out the Eliminator. I can't say I'm sure either of the 2 strategies I've implemented so far are great. But let's recap the team. I think it's fine. Running back feels really strong, but quarterback is decent with Purdy, Tyler Shuck, and Cam Ward. I think good enough to keep me viable and afloat. High upside. If Purdy goes down, though, I'll be a little sad about it. But Tyler Shuck was a very consistent scorer in fantasy last year when he got the rock. He never really dipped below 15 points, but he only did that once, and then he was almost never below like 18 points. He had a lot of 18, 19, 17.8 point games, and a couple over 20. Not sure he's ever going to go over 25, but does have the rushing capability to hit that on occasion. At least once he'll probably have a big spike. But like the Saints this year, quite a bit. He gets Jordan Tyson last year. He didn't even have Rashid Shaheed. But Cam Ward gets a lot of weapons. He's stacked up on this team. I think we're okay at quarterback. Running back, though, is Taylor, Hampton, Montgomery, Ramondre, and Emmanuel Wilson. I think early in the year we get enough, but I could see these 2 down here not deliver down the stretch. But hopefully we're carried long enough where once the contest kind of dwindles down, not too many players to go against, these 3 are the ones carrying us. But wide receiver, a little thin, but I think all right. The volume is fine, but it's not great. It's not elite, that's for sure. Devontae Smith is in decent wide receiver 1, not great. Rome Odunze, a little inconsistent, but can put up top 10 numbers. Cardinal Tate should get the volume. He had the draft capital. We have him stacked up. Quentin Johnston, a little boom bust, but high upside and should have another 8 touchdowns this year. Shakir often hits your lineup with 9 points, so a very good flex play in redraft. Very basic, very mundane, but in the Eliminator, I need points. I don't need a lack of floor. I need the floor. Shakir has that. Christian Kirk might have been a bad click. Who knows how much he plays or gets on the field, but could work out. Probably not. At least it's stacked. And then Zachariah Branch, I think, gets on the field week 1. Who knows how long it takes to develop, but Juwan Johnson, Dalton Schultz, Pat Freiermuth, really valuable late round tight ends that get a lot of volume. So I think the trio does pair nicely. Yeah. Running back, maybe I invested a little too much. Maybe the Ramondre click should have been a receiver. I think I'd like this team a little bit more. Just a little bit. Anyways, team's not bad. Don't hate it. Let's take a look at some other ones. We have Soups in here, Spurs in here, and then if there's anybody else, I don't think you've shouted it out. Oh, right. I think he was picked 11. No, I think it's just 10 and 12. If I'm wrong, let me know. Apologies if I forgot you, but I think it's just 10 and 12. All right, Supso is right behind us. He goes Hurts and Goff, CMC, Saquon, Aaron Jones, Ray Day, and Emmett Johnson. Decent at running back, but the final 2 are, injury dependent, and then Aaron Jones is kind of a lock to get hurt. So Who knows how long you stay alive, but these three have some injury risk for sure. Let's not pretend they don't. Got to add best ball and call to my best ball song. What's up, my guy? What's up, Bryce? Qualcomm or SoFi? I've only been to Charger games at SoFi, so at least Qualcomm was their own stadium. I think if you're a true Charger fan, you'd probably say Qualcomm. But as someone who joined later in life, only once they came to Los Angeles, I think I'll say SoFi. But it's just a different era, you know. Neither is better than the other, but it'd be cool if the Chargers got their own stadium. I will say that. Kirk should start the year over Stribling at the F. Who knows? Malachi Corley. Who knows? All right. I got to get back to this, though. I got sidelined for like no reason. Olave, Neighbors, JMO. The price on Neighbors was fucking crazy. And then JMO at 58. I guess in this format, it makes sense, but it does feel like a steal. Mekhi Lemon, Cortland Sutton, Trey Tucker, Brandon Ayuk. Receiver room, high risk, high reward. I hope it works out. It's very interesting, but maybe collapses under its own weight. Neighbors might really derail you, and then if JMO just doesn't show up week one, you might be fucked. But Goddard, likely, Okonkwo, and Hawkinson, the 4 tight end build, very interesting. Yeah, not a bad team. Just need them to hit. Good luck. Bold. I like it. Spurs had a 3-5-8-2 and went QB early with Allen, Lamar, and Trevor. He took Allen at pick 13. Reached on Lamar a little bit too. Damn. Set the tone. James Cook, Jadarian Price, Chuba, Rico, and C-Rod. So pretty legit at running back. Y'all know I don't love Chuba, but early in the season definitely locking up the touches. So very, very legit click, and collectively a strong group of 5. Wide receiver faded though for a while. After Flowers, you have Wandale at 108 as wide receiver 2. Concepcion, Jawan Jennings, Tesla, Flournoy, Coleman, and Booty. Good luck. Gotta hit early and keep hitting with a different rotation every week. It's possible, but damn, feels like you gotta really thread the needle. And tight end's not too strong. Kincaid and Strange. Yeah, might have really been set back by the quarterback investments. Like quarterback, running back feel great. Receiver, tight end do not. So call to your shot, setting a different approach, and you know, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. But I don't love it. I feel like you need a lot of luck on your side. But who knows? Maybe the quarterbacks just really, really crush that often. But you're taking a lot of zeros in the lineup with some of your early picks. Like in your first 10 rounds, you got 4 zeros in the lineup. You can't start 2 of your running backs every week. You also can't start 2 of your quarterbacks every week. That's a lot of bench capital to be spending, and then only get back in at receiver with Wandale as number 2. Yeah, you got a little punished if I had to say, Spurs. Wide receiver, not very good. Didn't get sniped this time. All right, let me try to catch up. But it looks like we're not going to hit 33 likes. We have 43 watchers. So if y'all want a Best Ball Mania, now's the time. Now's the time to let me know. I will do it tomorrow. If we don't do it tonight, it is kind of late. So I wouldn't be shocked if y'all just didn't want to hop in and do it when there's a $3 contest also. But that's the vibe. I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then we'll hop into one more, and the likes will decide it. 33 likes for Best Ball Mania. If not, I'm going to do that tomorrow. But Bryce Long says, which wide receiver would you pick in redraft? Pittman, Downs, Wandale, QJ, Worthy, Coker, KC Diggs. Thank you. Also Corum, but I don't know how steady he'll be. I will go Quentin Johnston on this. Give me QJ. I think Pittman and Downs could be really valuable. I like Diggs, but at the moment we don't know where he'll sign. I think QJ is very locked into a high target share. Won't hit every week, but when he does hit your lineup, it's high spike weeks. You want a piece of the Chargers. Give me QJ at this moment. I rank him the highest. But I think Diggs is a sneaky option. Probably not going to overtake Pittman, though. And I think I would go QJ, Pittman, then Downs in that order. And then we'll see on the rest of them. But ready with the power, best ball on call. The Elam is all about projections. The week 8 quarterback probably screws this team. I don't know. I think Cam Ward can be good enough against the Bengals. I think I lucked into a good matchup there, but not a guarantee. Shakir is criminally underrated. This year, I think he is. In the past, I think he's been criminally overrated, and I think people are just souring on it, got a little disappointed, and now he's a good price. Christian Kirk is my last year's Russell Gage. Yeah, that feels like a good comparison. Not sure if I'm high as Giraffe Vagina or The Master movie is messing with me. Maybe it's a combo of both. That movie is trippy. I will say there's a lot of mental games going on in that movie. So don't let it carry you away. It is it's a trippy mind excursion. That's how I would explain it. Definitely need Neighbors to start and not be on the pup. That's for sure. That's why in this contest I picked 39. But I would have taken him there too. If you pass on him, I would have taken him at pick 40. I would not have been able to say no. The visual on this movie is crazy good. Yeah, The Master's awesome. Double elite QB with the third is a move. I mean, T-Law is the third. High price to pay, especially when you take Allen in the second round. But both his tight ends week 7 bye. That's not great. Really like Wandy back with OB, but as a wide receiver 3, not 2. Yeah, the Cardinal Tate drafting really, really screwed Wandale quite a bit. Always love the late night streams, by the way. Thank you, Soups. Glad we can deliver, especially on a Friday night. At this point, it's just me, so keeping it rolling. Not as much competition for eyeballs on YouTube at this point either. Not too many streams this late. But give me Downs over QJ. Jamie calling his shot. I don't trust the quarterback in Indy as much as in LA, but QJ has a lower floor. Downs has a lower ceiling. Give me the higher ceiling. I'll take QJ. I mean, what is this question? Best wide receiver 3. Rather go Downs than take a shot on Trey Harris later, but I do like Pittman in best ball. Pittman's pretty solid. Pittman doesn't scare me, especially for his price. Superflex depends on the likes. If we hit 33, when I check it, we're at 32. And the chat keeps rolling. How are the late night drafts going? I mean, so far we're okay, but it looks like we're doing a BBM for a third. I was at 2, notice you in here, so I hopped in. Okay, we'll take a look at the Michael Wave. I thought you were in here, but maybe it was just a coincidence. He has Malik Willis, Stroud, and Shador. Good luck. Good luck with that. That doesn't feel too good. Bijan, Quinshawn, Harvey, Algier, and Tajay. That's not too shabby. That's not anything to worry about. I'm not convinced Tajay is the number 2 in his backfield, though. I'll say that. I do like Singleton quite a bit. If Pollard goes down, you have Pickens and Nico, Evans and Harrison, Jacoby and Naylor, and then Malik Washington. Tight end is Kraft, Kate Otten, and Theo Johnson. For some reason, I feel like, did you reach on a player, or is it just like something doesn't quite fit here? I feel like this team is so balanced, it should have better quarterbacks. I guess you kind of reached on Stroud a little bit, but not a guarantee to come back to you. Yeah, quarterback I wish was better. I'll say that. I wish you took a higher priced quarterback. Got boxed out with Caleb going right in front of you. Didn't want to take Mahomes, I guess. That's fair. Didn't want Stafford. Didn't want to pull up anyone, and then missed out. That's the tough thing about being on the end there. Allen and Lamar went way early. Yeah, tricky, tough break here. I think you might have just had to pull someone up instead of taking Myers. I think that's what I might have done there, just to avoid a huge cliff at quarterback. But maybe Malik Willis is really the guy. I see him as this year's Justin Fields, and you'll get a couple big games, but he also might get benched by like week 11 or so. Dolphins are tanking. Dolphins definitely trying to take. All right. 32 likes, one more. Jiri's going to go live now. Oh, check out Jiri Football. Definitely shout out Jiri. Awesome content creator, friend of the channel. And so you think you can tout contestant. Definitely rooting for our boy, Jiri Football. Basically the only one drafting at this time for the Night Owls like me. That's usually the case. Got to lean into the West Coast advantage sometimes. But I finished my Pollard versus Downs rap battle. Who Hames heard it, thought it was funny. Good receivers in Trey for the number 2 spot. QB suck but could work. Somebody took Purdy. LOL. Right. Sorry about that. I mean, JF served a purpose. All right. I think we hit. Oh, we're still at 32. I mean, I've stretched it out. It tells me we're at 32. 41 watchers. So I guess we're doing a super flex then? Is that what we're doing? Nah, there it is. There it is. That's what I thought. All right. We earned the BBM 7 bonus entry. A $25 bonus entry on them. I played 5 BBM 7s over the weekend, and we are capitalizing on it right now. I'm going to apply this to my entry, and we are going to join BBM in 3, 2, 1. Boy. Feels good to enter a BBM for $0. Not only that, we earned it with site credit. It's a double free entry for your boy. Can you believe it? We get pick 10. I'm glad I'm a little closer to the bookend than pick 8, pick 7. I'm fine with pick 10. All right. Roni says shows 33. My count was 32, but we did end up going up to 33. So I've noticed that sometimes people tell me that they see it have one more like than what it registers for me. So who knows? But all right, let's take a look at who's in here. Not a full badge room. We have Underdogs Anonymous at the 101. John Tara, I believe, is watching. Polls number 2. And A-Rod did get the 101. T1090 at the 102. Good luck to y'all. Definitely fun to get a top 2 pick in Best Ball Mania. But Game Tight, I imagine, is taking Jamar Chase at the 103. This draft is underway. So friends of the channel, get top 3 picks. Good luck to y'all. Ship It Shane in at the 104. Witness at the 105. S. Farshi at the 106. Big Mike to the C at the 107. DeKenya at the 108. Not going to pronounce that the other way around. Curse Dunn at the 109. I have the 110. Mile High Jabroni at the 111. Maybe we can get higher than him. And then Supso also watching. Polls the 112 bookend. Best of luck, gentlemen. Any ladies in here, perhaps, whether that's the case or not. We see Genty go at 107. Supso, oof, at pick 12 here. The back end this year sucks. Yo, am I really getting Amon Ra at pick 10? Fuck yeah. I'll do that. I believe they play Chicago week 17. CeeDee Lamb at 11. Jefferson at pick 12. I'm a little surprised to see Genty and James Cook go before Amon Ra, but I'll take that all day. I do think having that anchor wideout is also a valuable piece to have. Am I just going to have another Amon-Ra Hampton team? Yep. Can't help myself. One of my favorite starts of them all. Amon-Ra and Omarion Hampton. And I hope you forgive me. I am going to be one of those guys that uses all of my time on the clock. There's things to consider. Your combos, stuff like that. But ultimately, who am I kidding? I just can't quit it. But feels pretty solid to start off a Best Ball Mania 7 with Amon-Ra at pick 10 paired up with Hampton, our boy. But interesting, the team that pulled up Genty also takes Bowers at the 206, so a double Vegas start. Big Mike to the C. Good luck betting on Clint Kubiak and Mendoza. All right. So far, this looks pretty fun. The Jefferson team pulled up Chase Brown. Saquon team got CeeDee Lamb at a really nice price. It's not the most common combo anymore. Not impossible to get, but not the most common anymore. And then James Cook Achane is kind of just what you get at pick 12. Team 9 just taking a discount on it. And then other than Team 7, it's not too crazy. The Christian McCaffrey, Ken Walker drafter. That's pretty solid. That's pretty decent at pick 6. That's a nice little gift. But Neighbors does go pick 21 in this one. Ship It Shane is not afraid. Badgeless not letting Neighbors fall. But Travis Achane goes pick 25. Would have been delighted had he fallen to me at 34, but definitely wasn't going to expect that. McBride finally off the board at pick 29 after A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Josh Jacobs in front of him. T. Higgins goes to Game Tight, setting up a Joe Burrow combo. Might have to take him 51 because Team 12 did take Chase Brown on the other side. But Rashi at 32, I'll tell you this. If Rashi was there at 34, I think I would have just taken him. Gets the Chargers correlation. And on this side of the board, not as common. But back on the clock, I'm going LA running back again. I mean, Javante's not bad. But I'm going to take Kyron. I have Kyron ranked higher. I trust in the Rams backfield. I really do. And Kyron has not lost his job. There was just like 4 games when, who knows, maybe he was a little banged up and maybe they just wanted to take something off of his plate. I'm not convinced that Blake Corum actually is stealing his workload. You know, the drafting of Jarquez Hunter still kind of speaks volumes to me in regards to how much confidence they really have in Blake Corum. Blake Corum was such a bust in his rookie year. Kyron got the contract to, I still think, warrant a big role. But Javonte circles back. I almost just took him. You never get too upset having a really strong running back room. So we go anchor wideout and we go trip RB. Not going to be upset with this start. This feels pretty decent. Going to ignore the position for a bit. Maybe I don't get a great value for a while, but I think we can piece it together. I think we can make it work. And I think I'm probably going to pass at quarterback in the 5th and the 6th round, unless we get a really nice price on Lamar Jackson. Lamar is probably the only quarterback I'll be considering at the 5-6 turn. I think I just have to get back in at receiver before it's just desperate. And maybe advertising that is not wise, but we got one person watching behind us at pick 60, and then there's 3 people in the top 3 picks. And at that point, they're probably already going with wide receiver. Like, that's just a range of the draft where if that's what you need, that's where the value is. That's what you're going to take. There's no concern advertising that. But Gavis Concone, 2004, tighten up, take Singleton for the win. I do like Nick Singleton quite a bit. Like him as a prospect. And I was worried about his foot injury at the Senior Bowl, but once I got the confirmation he was ready to start practicing running full speed, that was a pretty good go-ahead. And that happened like a few days before the draft. I started hammering Singleton in the big board last few days I could. But Jiri is live, has been live for 10 minutes. So stick around, see how this Best Ball Mania goes. But once this is over, if Jiri's still live, absolutely head over there. 17 Soups, the ASB and OMC seems like the CD and ASB combo from a couple years ago. Omar Cooper? You really think he can be an Amon-Ra St. Brown caliber option in New York? I'll tell you this. If the Jets trade Garrett Wilson, man, Omar Cooper to the moon. But it's just not an offense I want to overcommit to. And Game Tight not only takes Lamar, does take Burrow at 51. Says, I don't need running back. Who needs running backs? Who needs a stacked up Lamar Jackson? Adam, you would have taken him at 58. Well, he goes 46. How about fuck you on your hopes with Lamar Jackson late 5th round in Best Ball Mania? Not today, says Game Tight. Not even close. All right. Curse has the same build as I do, only one receiver, but it's Egbuka. My only receiver is Amon-Ra. Like my team a bit more. I think I'm going to go Christian Watson here. I think I just kind of boxed myself into it. I mean, I could overcommit to running back and just call it done with 4, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'll take Christian Watson. As long as he's healthy, he should be fine at this price, but it would have been awesome to get Devontae Adams there. I don't think the team in front of me would have passed on Devontae. They go Montgomery. Damn. A lot of running backs on that team. I think I'm fine with 3. I think I'm okay. At least for now. You know, I'm going to have 5 when it's all said and done, but I don't think I want to spend too much on my bench in the 5th round here. Soups takes Price and Tootin. Hurts and Jaden Daniels come off the board. Quinchon's still there. maybe I should just take him. I'm going to go Jordan Tyson. I really like Tyler Shuck in the Saints this year, and I think Tyson has what it takes to really, really deliver in the Kellen Moore offense. We also know that Chris Olave has a little bit of concussion and injury risk, and it seems like when we take Olave early, he doesn't quite pay off. When he falls late, he does pay off. This is kind of where he went last season, where I'm taking Tyson. And Tyson's just capable of dominating if he can develop quick enough. Tyson had the best per game stats of any rookie wide receiver entering the season last year. Tyson was really crushing. So I do like him in this range. We took Carnell Tate on an earlier team today, so I kind of want to mix it up. I have much more Tate than I do Tyson, and I think he's a good 6th-round pick. I think Brian Thomas is also a good 6th-round pick. I like Carnell Tate in the 6th, but to pass on Judkins, I think I want like truly the highest ceiling possible. And I do think the Saints offense will be better than the Titans offense. Like the Titans not getting a single not a single primetime game is an indictment by the NFL. They have no belief in Tennessee. So I'm not sure I should have much either. But this is an interesting trend so far in this lobby. We have Game Tight taking Lamar and Burrow. We have Big Mike taking Josh Allen and Caleb. And then there's also Mile High Jabroni taking Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels on the same roster. So the only other team with a quarterback is Drake May. And that means there are currently 8 rosters with no quarterbacks. That is something to keep in mind. Not saying you have to get in immediately, but I think once the run begins, the run will go pretty quickly. And interesting, Ship It Shane goes to the bully tight end, Tyler Warren, and Tucker Kraft picks 69 and 76. Okay. Just seeing what happens here. But I'm glad I have 3 receivers at this point because we did invest a lot of capital at running back. I can ignore that for quite a while and get away with it. But receiver could dry up soon. Jaden Reed gets taken. So I'm not going to overcommit to Green Bay. It's a best ball mania. We're going for $2 million. And if I'm going to do that, I'm wearing a Chargers hat. We're taking Justin Herbert. Stacks up with Hampton very nicely. Hampton can catch 8 receptions in a game if he has to. Probably going to average at least 3 or 4 catches, I think. I don't believe Kimani Vidal is stealing his job in that regard. And unless he gets hurt, Hampton will crush. Very capable in the passing game. And the Lad McConkey drafter is right behind me. Not convinced he would have gone trip quarterbacks, but this is a weird lobby. Who the fuck knows? And maybe he didn't take them at 83, but he might have considered it at 86. That team has CeeDee Lamb, though. So if he is going to do it, he probably takes Dak here. I doubt it. But I didn't want to fuck around. This team is a wild card. I don't know what Jabroni's doing. Goes RJ Harvey. Miss me with that shit. I'll take QJ. For sure, a big reason why I took Herbert. Not many receivers I like remaining, and to get a stack in the top 100 picks, definitely viable. So Herbert double stacked. I think super valuable dark horse for MVP this year. The Mike McDaniel bump, don't underestimate it, especially first year on film. There'll be a bit of a shock and adjustment from the rest of the league with Mike McDaniel's system and such a better quarterback at the helm. We saw what Tua was able to do year 1 with Mike McDaniel. Imagine what Herbert's going to do. Herbert's going to fucking crush this year. Their offense is going to deliver. Herbert, I think, is one of the best picks on the board. I have been hammering Justin Herbert. I think he's in the same tier as Caleb. Like, there's a lot of projection with Caleb. Like, there were some games where Caleb showed you how good he could be, but they were in amazing matchups against teams like Dallas. Otherwise, Caleb didn't play as consistently well as often as you would have hoped for someone that you're taking as like quarterback 5, quarterback 6 off the board. That's where he goes in this one. Pick 66, QB 6. I take Herbert QB 8. A full 16 spots later. And the difference between Cortland Sutton and Jordan Tyson, I think, is much higher upside on Tyson. Nobody loves Herbert more than Harbaugh. I'm probably in like the top 10. You know, second is probably Mike McDaniel. Third is probably Madison Beer. And then there's probably some other Chargers fanatics. But if you saw my Justin Herbert exposure, I think you'd probably rank me top 10. It has gotten out of hand the last couple weeks. I'll tell you that. But this is a room that's fading tight end. That's kind of interesting, especially with the Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft bully strategy. At the moment, there's still some really good tight ends left on the board. Fannin, Laporta, and Kyle Pitts all top of ADP, and it's past pick 100. But Jared Goff goes 102. I was hoping that Jared Goff would still be here. Kind of disappointed he's not. But having Herbert while this run at quarterback is going on feels very valuable. Fannin off the board. I think I'm just going to take Laporta, but I might regret not taking Shuck. Damn it. Yeah, I'm just going to take Shuck. I don't really want to take Jordan Love. I've taken him quite often. We're taking a pretty solid bet on Jordan Tyson on this team. So let's argue for him being really valuable. I like the Saints schedule, especially in the playoffs. I think it's really good. And I don't know what Soups is going to do here. He goes Kyler and Baker, so he double taps quarterback. And I really don't feel confident that I was locking in Shuck. And Laporta makes it back. It works out. Laporta circles back. We definitely, I think, played that correctly. But a little surprised that both of these teams here passed on tight end. This is not a lobby that respects tight end. Fannin at 105 is probably where he should go. I take Laporta 111. And then Kelsey at 113 to stack with Mahomes. That's interesting. D.I. Kenya reaching on Kelsey. Does have Rashee Rice, does have Mahomes, but passed on Xavier Worthy in favor of Kelsey. I think that's worth noting. Only had 4 receivers up to this point. So kind of notable. He's got Stafford with Adams, Mahomes with a double stack. Worthy goes to Whitness, building a pretty strong receiver room. Actually, no, not the super deep room it could have been. Worthy's actually wide receiver 4 on that team. But JSN London to start. Not bad. Damn, Laporta in round 10 in Best Ball Mania. And I also have the other team commitment with Amon-Ra, so they can kind of bounce off each other. Maybe they pop off the same week. Would have loved getting Goff there at 106 with the Laporta combo, but not today. Goff does go to the JMO team, so totally appropriate. That team also had Olave, so one of us was getting Goff, the other one was getting Shuck, and I think on this side of the board, it Makes a little bit more sense that I ended up with Shuck. But would have been fucking awesome if we got Goff. All right, this team is fun. Hampton, Kyron, Javante. We got the double Williams. Amon-Ra is our anchor wideout. Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson. Quentin Johnston is our fourth wideout. Got to get back in, but there's still some decent remaining names. Jonathan Brooks goes 114 in this, followed by C-Rod, Kenny Gainwell. Damn, is Jonathan Brooks going to start entering the top 100 soon? Brooks just keeps going higher. That team was a little thin at running back. Had Genty, DeAndre Swift, takes Brooks at 114. Damn. But Game Tight waited till round 8 to take a running back. Goes 4 straight with Rico, Kyle Monungai, Kenny Gainwell, and Rashad White. Honestly, not a bad outcome to wait that long. Those are 4 that I like in that range. So good for Game Tight. Didn't take a running back until round 8. It's not too shabby. It's definitely behind the 8 ball, but not too shabby at all. And Khalil Shakir here again. Am I going to start to be the Khalil Shakir guy? I feel like I've started to take him like crazy as of late. But it just feels like such a good value. Pick 130, the Bills wide receiver 2. Definitely want to invest in the Bills. This is such a discount compared to last year and the year before. Like, he used to go in the 90s, in the 80s, sometimes in the 70s. Shakir at 130? He's been on a lot of teams recently. Why respect tight end when you can get Tonjes in the last round? I suppose that's valid, but he's not the only tight end on your roster. Brooks has been rising hard since Pat keeps talking him up. I mean, I've been taking Brooks all the way up the board. But that's definitely good to know. I think I'm going Stephon Diggs. There's a weird room for tight ends, so let's push it. Gadsden would make sense here, but we'll have some later options. I can still go Njoku if I don't get lucky. You all know I love Goddard, but I'm sure I have some other Goddard teams. Whiteout was a little bit tricky, so we go Stephon Diggs at 135. Player that probably has the most potential to rise into the top 100. Other than, I guess, Jonathan Brooks at the moment. But glad I took a shit ton of Jonathan Brooks early on in the big board. Damn, it was nice when you can get Jonathan Brooks in the 160s. I'm curious to know what my average click on Jonathan Brooks is. Maybe I'll look at that later on. But so far, I think this team is really coming together. I haven't taken a running back since round 4. But, like, I in no way do I regret not drafting Quinshon Judkins. Because my receiver room has moved from one of the weaker ones to, I think, maybe one of the deeper ones. I'm the first room in the lobby to have 6 receivers. Finally, John Tara hits 6 wideouts total as well. And while maybe my wide receiver 3 is not the best, my wide receiver 6 is Stephon Diggs. It's not too bad. So have I, but at some point Brooks reaches an equilibrium. Yeah, I will say I'm not as compelled to click him as often anymore, but I sure am glad I got in heavy back when it was much cheaper. Good to take a little victory lap on that if I can. All right, coming back on the clock relatively soon. Obviously, running back speaks to me as a position of need. Tight end has Sam Laporta, so one of the strong ones. Not desperate, but Only one so far, and then only 2 quarterbacks. So maybe get back in, but that position's drying up already. Daniel Jones goes 150. We are on the clock officially. I'm going to go Juwan Johnson, I think, just for, the safety net nature of it all. Just give me the stack. Juwan Johnson, a very good omen. JT feels like he's overcommitted to the Pats. I'll take a look after this click. JT has team 2. Strange here is not a bad price, honestly, but I think I'll just take Brian Robinson. I think I need a running back. There's no guarantee I get a name I like on the way back. Let me just take Brian Robinson. Don't think he's a bad pick in this range. There's not a super high chance he ever plays more than 2 games as the starter, but ultimately he is the 4th Atlanta Falcon off the board. There aren't that many teams where the 4th option is coming off at pick 14. And the Falcons, I think, have a high enough upside as a team collectively. I want to believe in Kevin Stefanski. I think they have a role envisioned for Brian Robinson. And it's not like Bijan gets 100% of the touches. He also has to come off the field inevitably. And they don't have enough good receivers to not be a run-first team at an overwhelming rate. So Bijan catches a lot of passes, but in terms of rush attempts, it's a little bit more split. Brian Robinson probably not going to get the most targets, but I do think he could be viable on the goal line. Similar to Tyler Algier. Would be shocked if he scored 8 touchdowns like Algier did last season, but that's the upside we're talking about. So this late, the role is what speaks to me the most. The Kevin Stefanski handcuff is going to be good. Generally speaking, it's a valuable asset to have. Even Dylan Sampson had a role last year, had some value. Not the most, but Quinshon Judkins is really good. Bijan's really good. So Brian Robinson, I get it if you don't like the click, but I do think compared to some other handcuffs, Brian Robinson versus Jonah Coleman, not the safest path for Jonah Coleman to get a lot of touches either. Jonah Coleman goes 18 picks earlier. Soup says, I'd be down for another draft after this one. Honestly, I'm still kind of awake. NFC South could be totally crazy for whatever ends up as the playoff team. I think it's the Saints. I think the New Orleans Saints will win that division, and they might do it at 8-9 again. I want to believe they can do it at 9-8, but I think the Saints can still get it at 8-9. Damn it, Rodgers off the board, definitely a consideration I would have had. Maybe I just stick with 2. Shit. I think I'm going to stack up Alvin Kamara because Kamara does catch passes. Kamara with Shuck. Let's do it. My top 3 running backs are really good. I think I'll be fine, even if I don't get much. But Njoku right after me, damn it. That's a little weird. Barner fell. Njoku went above Barner. Hawkinson still on the board. Don't see Njoku at 179 too often. He's usually like in the 190s. That's a bummer. Do I just take TJ Hawkinson then? Perhaps. Pretty big fall on Hawkinson. Yeah, fuck it. Almost slotted in Freiermuth at the last second, but we have Laporta, we have Juwan. Might as well just take a good fall in value. Damn, the Kyler drafter had no interest. Kyler drafter went Barner and Tank Dell. At least it's a good price, but I would have liked Rodgers there. Would have liked Mendoza. Felt like quarterback could have been really clutch had I gotten them, but pick 10 to push it one more round. Yeah, but like I said, with running back, I think I was getting close to the edge in terms of really pushing it. Like, there's nothing guaranteed with B-Rob, but the names after, like only Bigsby, do I trust? And he went 166. 2 clicks left. I believe in Herbert enough. I think I can get away with it. I like Shuck. I think it can be okay, but quarterback feels a little like a desperate position in this format. Kind of feel like I want the third quarterback. We need another receiver. We only have 6 at the moment. Amon-Ra, Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson, Quentin Johnston, Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs. I'll take one more. Running back, Hampton, Kyron, Javonte. I'm going to trust that these 3 hit my flex often enough. They have different buys. B-Rob has a bye in week 11, but I think we can get away with it. I need another receiver badly. Question is, do I take a random quarterback here? Like, really? I'm not going to take Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to take Shador. I'm not going to take Penix. I think I'm just going to stick with who I got. I think I'm just going to stick with Herbert and Shuck. Let's call our shot. I'd rather go with 3 QBs in BBM typically, but I just don't think I got a good price, or if I did, I just never took it. But there were some good prices elsewhere, like taking Laporta there felt like such a steal. Maybe I should have just taken Love because I did have Christian Watson, though. Otherwise, we would have had to take like Cam Ward or reached on one of these 3 instead of Diggs, and maybe that was the move, but didn't feel like it just didn't speak to me. Let's trust in Herbert. Okay. In that case, I'm going to take another running back and one more receiver. I do like Katron Allen a little bit. Not going to lie, that Commander's backfield feels completely up for grabs. And Katron, I think, can be what everyone thinks JCM is. I'm going to go Katron. Pick 202 behind ADP. I'm good with that. Now, the question is, do I take Trey Harris for the obvious stack? Or, I mean, Ted Hurst is also here. I like Ted Hurst quite a bit. I think for me, it's between Ted Hurst and Brennan Thompson. I don't think I'm going to go Trey Harris on this one. I have a shit ton of Trey Harris. I'm going to go Ted Hurst. I think Ted Hurst has a much easier path to playing time. It's not that Brennan Thompson's not going to play, but I do think Ted Hurst is going to be on the field more often than Brennan Thompson. And he's been going much higher. He fell dramatically here. ADP 186. In BBM, we get him 207, final round. Yeah. He fell a little too far. Unstacked, but I don't care. Ted Hurst, final round. Don't see that too often. He's going where like Antonio Williams is going a lot of the times. So Yeah, a bit of an oversight by the committee. That's a really nice price on Ted Hurst. All right. Interesting, fun team. Should we review it round by round or position by position? I'm going to go position by position. We were rocking the 2, 6, 7, 3 today in Best Ball Mania out of the 10 pick. And our quarterbacks are Justin Herbert in the 7th round, Tyler Shuck in the 9th. Running backs hit it in rounds 2, 3, and 4 with Hampton, Kyron Williams, and Javonte Williams. Then waited until round 14 for Brian Robinson. Took one in round 15 with Alvin Kamara. And then round 17, I go Katron Allen. I like the running back room. Some good handcuffs. Maybe Kamara does indeed retire, but I don't think so. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to be catching passes alongside Tyler Shuck. If ETN goes down, we are in business. But Katron, I think, can potentially win the job. So past ADP, I do think he's an interesting swing. A rookie running back, not a bad bet, ultimately speaking. But I love my top 3. I think these are very, very good options to hit the flex as well. Wide receiver, though, feels like, although maybe a little shaky in terms of wide receiver 2 and 3, I think the depth is actually pretty solid. Amon-Ra to anchor it all feels very good. You know, he's hitting the lineup very consistently. But then Christian Watson, boom bust, could give us a lot of 25-point games. Could also just, you know, even on 40 yards, hit a touchdown and keep it moving. Jordan Tyson might take a minute to break out, but if he breaks out big, I think he could really, really look good. And that is our stacking partner. So we're making a big bet on Shuck and Tyson. Paying off. But QJ stacks up with Herbert, and I don't have any other stack with Herbert other than Hampton, which is valuable. So QJ better fucking deliver. Khalil Shakir, we've mentioned him several times on the channel as of the last week. A good price, a good backstop, a good floor play. Receiver 5 at pick 130. Bills wideout number 2, probably underrated and undervalued. But Stephon Diggs, still a very good click, still probably worth more than pick 135. So wide receiver 6 feels pretty safe. And then I got a great price on Ted Hurst. And it looks like we're getting multiple requests for a field general. We'll do that, sure. But yeah, I think I'm good with these 7 receivers. A little bit tricky. Could blow up in my face. I could see a world where it just isn't good enough, but I also see a world where it does crush the way I'm hoping it does. Tight end, though, I think is really viable, can hit the flex at times, but I think every week I have a decent floor and volume, a lot of targets headed in this direction. Laporta, Juwan Johnson, and TJ Hawkinson. I would have loved for Hawkinson to have been Aaron Rodgers or Mendoza. I would have loved that. I don't think I was willing to take Tua, although I do think he's interesting. Just not a guarantee he'll have a full season. And that price we got on Hawkinson was really, really cheap. But I was one pick away from getting Rodgers, and it just wasn't my day. So I don't think I had a great price at quarterback other than Jordan Love to really capitalize on. I think it just is what it is. Otherwise, I would have had to take a quarterback instead of Tyson. And ultimately, I think we're going to be fine. I think it's going to be okay. I'm not going to panic. Not at all. I think I'll be all right. So that's the team. We have 4 other teams in here. And this is a Best Ball Mania, so I'm definitely going to check them out. But I'll tell you this, unless you are a member for the last draft of the night or you drop a super chat for a team review, I think I will just move on after our last draft. After this, we'll do a field general. But that was my team, the 2-6-7-3, that I feel was pretty good. I like this team. Okay, let's take a look at Supso at the 12. Does have 3 quarterbacks with Kyler Baker and Geno. Has 5 running backs with Chase Brown, Jadarian Price, Byshel Tootin, Aaron Jones, Tyrone Tracy. Pretty legit. Did pull up Chase Brown, though, to get different. Whiteout has Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Tet, Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers, Tank Dell, and A.D. Mitchell. So did take Wilson and Tet in rounds 3-4. I think he got bailed out, honestly, with the Price and Tootin combo at 60-61, even though that is what ADP is suggesting. I actually think that is a really nice bailout, all things considered. Tight end, though, waited a long time, has Sadiq, AJ Barner, and Jake Tonjes. I'm shocked you did not take Hawkinson with Kyler. I get it. Maybe not the most exciting stack, but still, I'm a little surprised because it was a very big discount. Pretty solid team, though. No complaints. You got the Godwin Baker stack. You got the Garrett Wilson, Kenyon Sadiq, Geno Smith stack. And then you do have Jefferson with Kyler. So well-correlated team. Running back, I think top 3 are good enough. Good luck, Soup. So the only trouble is tight end. But you did mention your faith in Jake Tonjes, or at least someone did. If Tonjes crushes, then good job. But I don't love Sadiq with Barner and Tonjes. Not the most competitive tight end room. I'll say that. We also have the first 3 picks. Those are the spots you want. So Underdog Anonymous had Brock Purdy, Malik Willis. So also 2 quarterbacks. Not as strong with Malik Willis as number 2. That scares me a little bit. Jahmyr Gibbs, Travis, Tony Pollard, Algier, Emmanuel Wilson, Mike Washington. Legit group of 6. With Gibbs, it feels great. Nico, DJ Moore, Mekhi Lemon, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Trey Tucker, and Jalen Naylor. So a lot hinging on Lemon and Pearsall, but should be okay. Loveland, Andrews, and Dulcich. Not sure you need Dulcich here, but who are you going to take a quarterback in the last round? Might as well just get a stack. Yeah, I wish quarterback was a little deeper. But I also have 2 quarterbacks. Who am I to complain? I'm just not a huge fan of Malik Willis. And you did reach on him by 10 picks. So I would argue you felt a little desperate. I would argue you felt a little behind to pull up Malik Willis. And at the bookend, that definitely happens sometimes. Yeah. But I don't blame you for not taking one where Joe Burrow would have gone at the 5-4 turn. You know, Lamar was already off the board, so I don't blame you there. And then Drake May off the board. Were you really going to pull up Herbert? You might have just, you would have had to double tap like Purdy and a stacking partner. Tough sledding. Made the most of it. Might as well bet that Malik Willis really does deliver. That's the only tough part about being at pick 1. What do you do with quarterback? Because you can get a little burned at times. But I don't think it's terrible. Just Purdy and Malik Willis. Hope it shakes out well for you, Underdog. Team 2, Jantara. Drake May, Bo Nix, also another 2 quarterback team. Don't mind that with as much capital spent. Bijan, Jeremiah, Dobbins, Mason, and Sean Tucker. Not bad. Not bad at all. Mason needs an injury, but definitely could pop. Sean Tucker kind of already has an injury, so could pop. I like him late. Dobbins, really valuable early in the season. And then Jeremiah Love, super talented. So is Bijan. Let's hope for the best in Arizona. But wide receiver with A.J. Brown, probably stacked up in New England. Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, stacked up with Bo Nix. That feels good. Parker Washington, Romeo Dobbs, Shaheed, Debo, Troy Franklin. It's good. And then there's also like some clicks that could just go terribly wrong. But you do have some Patriots Broncos week 17 correlation, so that's pretty nice. That's one thing I did not maybe focus on my team. That's maybe something I completely disregarded, to be honest. But Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz, and Cade Otton. Pretty good tight end room. Good volume for given how long you waited. Yeah, pretty complete team. Like the Week 17 matchup, but that Broncos defense could kill you. Let's not pretend that's not the safest matchup in the world. Game tight, though, at the 103. Also, two quarterbacks. Took Lamar Jackson in the 4th round and then Burrow in the 5th. He did start off with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So the double stack and Lamar also targeted the Ravens-Bengals game, Week 17. And then at running back, we got Rico Dowdle, Kyle Monangai, Kenny G, Rashad White, Pacheco, and Tank Bigsby. Given how long you waited and to only have 6, bravo. Obviously risky, not the most elite thing you could, put together, but I think from the name standpoint, I'm not going to complain about this. This I think is a dare I say masterclass in zero RB. Perhaps this is one of the most impressive 6 running back rooms that did not take one until pick 94. That's round 8. So 7 rounds, fading it should be a really fun overall team. Jamar Chase, George Pickens, T. Higgins, Marvin Harrison, DK Metcalf, Antonio Williams, Elijah Surratt, and then tight end Chigo Conkle, Gunnar Helm, Mike Gesicki. Tight end room is not the most impressive. I'll say that, but Okonkwo and Gunnar Helm, and then the Gesicki stack. No complaints. This is a really good team. This is a really fun, really well-built team. And to be that bold, I mean, maybe Dowdle, Monangai, Gainwell, Rashad just never quite spike high enough. But, to give yourself a shot and wind up with this, I'm really impressed, Game Tight. I'm not just trying to glaze you or whatever. I'm genuinely being honest. I think this is as good as it could have gone. To wait for Rico as your RB1. Dope. Okay. I did like my team. I really like Game Tight's team. Let me look at my roster one last time. I think my team is very good. It could have been a little bit more correlated for Week 17 matchups. I think that's the only thing that maybe I don't really prioritize enough. To wait that long, dude, I'm super impressed. I will say this. I love all the names that you got. I really do. From a player take standpoint, value standpoint, I like it. Maybe I oversold it, but I really like it. I really like it. Okay. Y'all wanted it. We're doing it. Field General for $3. Take the compliment. I'm going to hop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we're all in the field goal overflow room, but you. I mean, I never hopped in. There's 4 spots left. Aiming for Purdy. No worries. I'm gonna take Drake May, but I got sniped. Yeah, you were so close. As a Niner fan, Tonjes is legit. Oh, he's legit. He's good. It's not a bad argument. It's not a bad argument. Yo, what's up, Young Moolah? I think I might have missed you. Yeah, this was your first comment. Just getting in from stepping out for a while, and I see my dude streaming almost midnight. You trying to take over for Stephen Colbert? I mean, Wouldn't hate it, but that's not the type of show I want. Stephen Colbert used to be a legend on Comedy Central. I wouldn't say that on CBS. All right, we need one more person for this field general. Only one more spot. Come on. I know you want it. 49ers spent a third-round pick on a running back who will soon be 25, I believe. If they don't use him now, when will they utilize him? Kalen Black, not a bad pick. Just, I'm not going to take him all the time. You know, like, he's a name I'll sprinkle in. And I actually haven't sprinkled him in too much lately. So, you know what? Maybe that's a name I should start to bring in. But one spot left in this field general. I know it's late. I know it's late, but how many people are watching? 37 people watching. There we go. We filled it. I get the 102. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Maybe Engage 8 is going to go Lamar just to help me out. I think that's our cue. We get pick 2. Let's hit the pipe. All right, this is definitely the last stream of the evening. Thank you all so much for showing out. Past midnight on the West Coast now. $17 Soups in at the 104. Have you been in all 4 drafts tonight? Allen does go. We'll just take Lamar. Spurs G at the 105. Underdog Anonymous at the 107. Underdogs Anonymous, excuse me. And then Game Tight in here at 11. And I think we've drafted with Sladen before, but not totally sure. I know there's something about the late night drafts. Like, you get really interesting EV sometimes. And I think there's also, like, you know, a lot of people that dominate during the day and they're asleep. You get some different people that aren't accustomed to drafting. There's a lot of y'all in here, so it's not going to be the easiest lobby. I'm not going to undersell it, but yeah, good way to put it. The D-Gen hours. But they all count the same. The tournament is open 24/7. Get in when you can. There we go, Sladen. That's what I thought. We got Miley on the picture. The later you stream, the more you'll see me after work. Good to know. You're in, I believe, Huhaim's streams all the time, right? New Eliminator Frenchie feels risky for 0 RB if you can guess right in Jacksonville, Washington, Pittsburgh, because there are so many underdrafted late darts. There's so many different ways to approach Superflex. It's really interesting. It's hard to know exactly what is like going to be correct, and then with the nature of, like, you know, how the quarterback position goes, your player takes on like which ones are going to really play well, you know, that decides a lot of your success. I really do need to take more Sean Tucker. Been learning been leaning a lot on Singleton, Washington, Davis in that range. Yeah, with the news on Bucky, I do think Sean Tucker is a very legit click. Mason seems like a good 40% guy. I don't know about that. I don't know about that on Jordan Mason. That's not a stance I'm willing to get behind. 40%. I mean, be my guest, but I'll pass. I'm not even touching the 20% number. If anything, Jordan Mason's going to tap out at 10% for me. There's no way I'm going to find myself. If anything, I'm going to stay below 6. I'm not hammering Jordan Mason. I'll have more Damon Claiborne, even more Aaron Jones probably than Jordan Mason. I'm not the biggest Mason believer. Let's go. Spurs about to be back on the clock. He took Burrow at the 105. I think the 105 is an interesting way to go. Like, do you just stick with ADP or do you call your shot on who you think is the best pick at quarterback? Because odds are you're not getting Burrow stacked up unless it's with Higgins, hopefully, but not sure you always want to do that. What's this team going to do? I'm hoping they take Mahomes from me. Sweet. In that case, I'm just going to take Ashton Genty. Don't see a massive gap in the tier between Purdy and the guys behind him. I think there's some different ways to go. And I would like a good running back. So give me Ashton Genty in this Superflex contest. Purdy and Saquon go match up against each other week 17. Lamar plays the Bengals. They're not available. We just take Bo Nix. Yeah, fuck it. I'll take Bo Nix. If I know someone is drafting, I definitely like drafting during the DGen hours. I don't mind it. I've kind of just accepted I'm on the West Coast and I can go about my day and not worry about it too much if I get stuck drafting much later than I typically do. I don't have a set schedule. That's the thing about this channel. I'd like to say I'm consistently always at the same time, you know exactly when to find me, but that's just not how I roll. That's just not how it goes. Appreciate y'all hopping in though. This late. We still got 36 people. Thank y'all. How high have I seen Jeremiah Love get drafted? I mean, in the pre-draft, he was going top of the second round. You know, I've seen people take him at pick 10 before, back in February, back in March. I think the earliest drafted him on my channel, I think might have been with Bindles. I think we took him with Bindles at like pick 14, pick 15. I never really liked taking him that early. Now I'm kind of getting in the 27 and later range. Seems like you can get him a decent amount these days. In this format, I think he's still on the board, right? Yeah, he's still on the board. But in the regular, there he goes, 37. But just right behind Hampton, feels like a big drop off. Once like Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Ken Walker, Hampton are off the board. Achane, much better than Jeremiah probably, but who knows? It's not a good offense in Miami either. But he was drafted 3rd overall. Gotta believe he's probably pretty good. But these days, you can get him at like pick 20 very easily. But between 20 and 30 is typically where he goes right now. Closer to like 24, 23, 26. Usually the bookend. But I honestly like Knicks way more than Purdy, Mahomes in that range. I do enjoy taking Dart or Winston, and I am feeling like I get a good mode slot at QB. Bo Nix is interesting because sometimes he actually kind of disappears. Sometimes he's actually not very good. But then when he really delivers, he can have like a 35, almost 40-point game. That's what happened last year against, I believe, the Giants. I am on the clock again. London's still here. I think I'll just take London. I don't think the team behind me is going to double tap QB and snipe both of them, so I can still probably get the one I want if I want a third. But we get a really good high caliber wideout. At the very least, that's a good price. London picked 47. That's kind of crazy. Cam Ward off the board. Had I taken Nico, I probably would be grabbing Stroud here, but I think I'm just going to take Travis. I think we're just going to trust that Lamar and Bo Nix are going to deliver a lot of the time. I'll still take 4 quarterbacks. I'll still find a way to get back in, but nah. I'll only stick with 2 so far. Honestly, like Love over Hampton. Hampton already had injury issues and is in a 3-man committee. Love going to eat. If you trust the touchdown production in Arizona more than the Chargers this year, be my guest. Would love to be in a lobby where somebody takes Love over Hampton, and I'm right behind him. But in terms of who got picked first, that's not the worst argument, you know. Pick 3 over pick 21 last year, I think. I think Hampton was 21 overall. Both first-round talents, but I believe situation matters, and I'm also a homer. So veto goes to Hampton on this channel. But I think the injury situation is really the only reason to fade Hampton. Everything else, when you really look at it, you really believe in Keaton Mitchell that much? I just can't be sold that their plan is not to make Hampton the guy. The way he was able to play when healthy, I think, is what you need to focus on. But LOL, thinking a 220-pound, 4'4" real-life first-round running back with McDaniel is in a timeshare with Keaton and Vidal. Yeah, it's just not... Look, no one's getting 100%, but he's just not going to fade away. It's just such a good situation, if you ask me. But, you know, I'm willing to be wrong. If I'm wrong about it, then so be it. If that's how God decides to punish me, so be it. But I will not fade Hampton. Not this year. Cardinals are going to lean heavy on the run, especially if they don't get Brissett signed. Yeah, but then when they're in the red zone, everybody knows where the ball's going to go. And guess what Jeremiah Love's yards per carry is going to look like in the red zone? Dog shit. That's what it'll look like. It'll look like Genty before contact last year. It's probably what it's going to look like. Yeah, I think this is a pretty clear click. Team behind me has no receivers. We have Lamar Jackson. Give me Zay Flowers. His ADP lines up very nicely, so not going to be the only team with a Lamar Zay Flowers combo, but will be one of the teams, and it does stack up. It's not bad. I mean, at some point, I think you got to just take Bucky Irving, right? It could be really bad, though. Fuck. Ugh. It could be really bad. But at some point, I think you just got to do it. Tough. But going behind Quinshon Judkins, behind DeAndre Swift, behind Travion Scadaboo and Demont, there's not many remaining I prefer. But it doesn't feel great these days, I'll tell you that. But it's still May. He's still got a bunch of time. Bucky on the field is still also capable of dropping like a 25-pointer. And he does. Here's the thing. Bucky thrived without having an elite snap share. When Bucky delivered, you know what changed? His snap share went up from 45% up to 55%. He never really eclipsed like 65% snap share his rookie season. But once he had the RB1 role, once he was over 50% and like clearly the guy on the goal line, then he fucking crushed. He was awesome for a stretch there. So maybe he can get back to that. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he never gets back to that. Maybe it was a bad pick. Maybe it's a lost cause. Maybe you don't want to be drafting Bucky Irving, but it's also worth the risk in round 7. Given the context, maybe price is better, but Bucky should be okay. I hope so. I feel like there's a lot of coping going on in this Bucky Irving little monologue there. I don't take Bucky too often these days. Not sure what the context is here, but I'll take it. This is probably. Oh no, this is got to be in regards to the Cardinals. The Love yards per carry argument is my guess. And as fun as rookie Achane was, he scored 177 half PPR points, RB24 to Mostert's 255 RB2. That's Hampton's role. Yeah, the Mostert season, man, that's what I'm really hoping for with Hampton. That's why I'm all in on Hampton. I think we could get a 20 touchdown season out of Hampton. I really think that's possible. It's not a guarantee. There's risk involved, but I think it's in the range of outcomes. And I just want to bet on Mike McDaniel. Okay. London and Flowers, we got 2 good receivers. I think we're going to wait for a bit. It's not a position of desperation anymore. Would have loved like a Jalen Waddle or something to make it back to me. He does not. Pick 91. We're on the clock at 95. Shit. I think I'll probably just take Pollard. Pretty locked in volume early in the season. A little worried about his backup situation. Singleton scares me more than Spears does. But last year, Pollard was way too good for Spears to really concern him. And while he is old and maybe injury is a concern, I'm not going to assume that's just going to happen. You know, like I'm still drafting Derrick Henry at a high rate. He's fucking 32, but he's in a different situation. Pollard at 29, though, who knows? That's why I do think Singleton is not a bad bet. We're coming back on the clock. Penix is near this ADP. Nah, I'll go Brian Thomas. Keep it balanced. Keep it moving. BTJ, wide receiver 3. I have to wait quite a long time. There's 20 picks between rounds for me. So I've been trying to keep it balanced the last several turns. Like we went running back, quarterback, but then since then I've been wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back. We went running back first, but then I still got back in at wide receiver. I've been keeping it balanced the last 6 rounds. And so far, I like the team. Now, the Bucky Irving click, I think, will decide our fate ultimately, if it's worth it. But we get him 9 picks past ADP. It's not like he didn't fall. But we pretty much got everyone. I guess not everyone right behind ADP. Brian Thomas was 1 spot above ADP. Damn, that's fucking cheap on Brian Thomas. It's pretty crazy how like some of these picks fall so far in Superflex. You know, like BTJ ADP like 64, 63 typically, 62. Pick 98. That's fucking wild. Because it's not quite like, you know, in line with some of the running back falls. You know, like Jalen Warren pick 100 is a fall. But like Warren goes, you know, 10 picks, sometimes like almost 20 picks past Brian Thomas. So for them to be going kind of back to back, there are much better values at receiver this late compared to running back. You still get some decent good values. Hampton is essentially Jonathan Taylor. It's possible. I don't know if I would go with that comparison. I would say Hampton's a better passer. I mean, a better pass catcher than Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's not bad in that department, but I don't think it's been really utilized over the years recently. At least what Hampton showcased last year is a much better willingness and ability to run routes and be used in the passing game. Excellent screen game with Hampton. But East Coast here, it's 3 a.m. Yo, salute to you, brother. That deserves a hit from the pipe, honestly. That's a... Shout out Colin the Man, 24. Coming in 3 minutes ago. Sorry, I was a little slow to see your comment, but yo, you're a real one. Dobbins falling in this one. I assume he goes here. The team only has 2 running backs. He goes Michael Wilson. Interesting. Do I just take Dobbins? It's not bad. I could go Cortland Sutton though for the stack. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the receiver first. Dobbins doesn't catch passes. Bo Nix throws the ball to Cortland Sutton in the red zone pretty often. And there's a little discount on Sutton as well. Only 4 picks, not the end of the world. But Engage 8, I know they kind of faded receiver for a long time. Like Garrett Wilson in round 7 was the first. And he goes Godwin. He does pass on Dobbins. Full round discount on Dobbins. You're just going to go double Denver? I think so. Yeah, we'll do that. Still don't have a tight end yet, but my receiver room is coming together. London, Flowers, Brian Thomas, Cortland Sutton. Just steady. Wide receiver, running back. Steady. Around the turn. We have 2 picks in a stretch of 4, and one of them is a running back, one of them is a receiver. That's been the case for the last 8 rounds, and I think this team is in pretty good shape. We started off quarterback, running back, quarterback, and then that's just been the trend. 1 orange pick, 1 green pick. Doesn't matter the order, but typically I'm taking receiver first just to get ahead of Engage 8, who had that weakness. Much weaker wide receiver room in terms of capital spent. I have London. Garrett Wilson's good, but not as safe of a play as London. Not at all. In the Jets offense. Also, way more competition right now. Probably not take another running back. JT had 55 targets last year. I think Hampton would have been on pace for much more than that. But JT used to be like his rookie season. I felt like he was much more used in the passing game. Pretty sure. It's been fading from his game over time. There have been stretches where he just doesn't quite get it as often, but maybe that is more than I would have thought. A cat running across. Now I'm curious. Last year, 46 catches. Okay, last year was last year was much different than the years before. I guess I'm kind of living in the past a little bit. 18 catches the year before, 19 catches the year before that, 46 last year. I'll be honest with you, Flyfish. I might have missed that. I don't think I realized he had 46 catches. But can you blame me for thinking that? My cat is like perfectly in frame to block me. Can you blame me for thinking that? Given the 2 years prior, he had less than 20 catches in both of them. Yeah, so I guess that's my point. I still think my argument kind of holds. I think Hampton will be more utilized in that department. But I will say I'm a little surprised by the 55 targets. Haven't noticed that. At least I didn't remember it. So thanks for pointing that out. Where am I going to go here? I have Lamar and Bo Nix. Someone took Andrews from me, didn't they? Yeah, fuck you. Last fucking second. I mean, in terms of upside, I think I had to go Ricky Pearsall here. Think so. And then, yeah, I think I'll just take my boy. Never upset with the Goddard click. Always a good value. Would have loved Andrews instead, but past the Sugar said nope. He has McBride, Kraft, and Andrews. Did not want me to get the stack. That's fine. Not gonna complain about it. All right, this team is coming together. Interesting. We finally have our starting roster filled out with at least somebody in every slot. Quarterback has Lamar Jackson and Bo Nix. Running back has Ashton Genty, Travis Etienne, Bucky Irving, Tony Pollard, and J.K. Dobbins. That Bucky Irving click gonna decide a lot of this team's success if I would assume so. But who knows? Maybe we don't need him. Not until it matters most. London, Flowers, Brian Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall. Really balanced approach. And honestly, for 5 in that way, I'm really, really happy with it. But I'm going to pack the bowl. Let me scroll down. All right. Damn, game type pushed it at running back again, and this time I think he really fucked up. Here's the thing, game type. I think my compliments might have gone to your head. I told you did really well waiting on running back. This time you waited till round 11. I fucking hate it. Game type. You're started with Pacheco, Keaton Mitchell, Algier, and Brian Robinson as your 4 running backs. No, not today. Not this time. Rookie Achane only played 11 games, by the way. That he did, but he was never really overtaking Raheem that season. I wouldn't say he was ever clearly dominating over Raheem during that stretch. He also kept getting hurt. 11 games played, and like it was like 2, then a few games missed, then like 3 in a row, then another game missed or something like that, and then like 1 game, and then like 5 games missed, and then back for a couple games. It was like never consistent. Such a weird season for him. Would have liked a tight end value. Don't think I got one, but I do think Shaheed is interesting. We're going to keep going at it with this wide receiver strategy. Shaheed, high spike week value. Yeah, not too many clicks I really like around here. I'll take Dalton Schultz because I need tight end. I need points at tight end. And he gets targets, so. Would have loved if Strange or Henry had made it back, just a little too far on this side of the board for that to hit. But there was a lot of valuable tight ends that went off around there. Unless I would have gone just like with 3 straight tight ends, or taken a tight end just instead of Ricky Pearsall. Don't think that would have been wise to do, but Ricky Pearsall definitely worth more than pick 143 typically. So I'm fine with how I played that. But on this team, we really faded tight end, so got to get in soon. And I'm probably going to consider a quarterback soon enough. Not yet, probably, but soon enough. We have 5 clicks left. I wouldn't be shocked if 2 of them are quarterbacks. One of them is a tight end, and then we have one more like running back and receiver. But the running back room feels pretty legit. Quarterback's fine. No complaints with Lamar and Bo Nix. We got Sutton. We got Flowers, so good correlation. We don't have any Patriots or Bengals for the Week 17 matchup. Maybe that's a mistake. But sometimes it feels a little overblown. However, I think it's more about having the right game to stack as opposed to just like forcing the game stack. But Sladen says Mostert had 33% more points by playing 33% more games. Just means we don't have any real indicator either way beyond Hampton. Looks really, really good. Here's the thing. Like, do you think Keaton Mitchell can be a Devon Achane? You think Kimani Vidal can be a Devon Achane? That I think is the reason why I'm not that like, I don't think about that argument, that comparison too often. But like, it's just the Mike McDaniel running back is ultimately what I go back to. And then yeah, there's no one that looked better than Hampton. So it should work. It might not. There's a world where it just doesn't work. But I think the Chargers usually know what they're doing when they draft the running back position. The Chargers drafted LaDainian Tomlinson. In terms of the building, they've had a very good scouting department. Melvin Gordon, maybe had a rocky rookie year, but ultimately was still pretty good at times. Austin Eckler fucking crushed. He was drafted pretty late. Are they the ones that drafted Danny Woodhead? I'm pretty sure he started in New England and then went over to San Diego. That might have been the path. But the Chargers usually do really well with the running back position in the draft, historically speaking. But I'm hoping Pass the Sugar passes me Pat Fryermuth Would be super happy with that. Not sure that'll happen. Top of ADP makes it to me at pick 191. Not a big fall, basically in line with ADP, 189, but he's a guy that goes way too late. So in terms of volume, in terms of points, in terms of targets, super happy to take Freiermuth. Almost took him where I took Schultz, honestly. I considered it. And now I'm back on the clock. I think I'll... I mean, this is a team with Bucky, so maybe I shouldn't do this. Yeah, instead I'll go Kalen Black. We mentioned him earlier. Worth mixing in. You know, Shanahan always does this every fucking year. Half the time it doesn't mean anything. It might still be Jordan James season, but the bet against Christian McCaffrey is a pretty solid bet. And then typically what ends up happening in San Francisco, even the backup gets hurt. San Francisco's running back room is a massive rotation every fucking year. Huge gamble on knowing who is the actual guy that you need to own. So even if it's Jordan James, like let's say week 8 after McCaffrey gets hurt, watch week 13 roll around and Kalen Black is the starter. Watch something like that happen. Like, it's really just not a guarantee either which way who you're getting as the name to own. But still 3 clicks. Might take a 7th running back. I think I'm taking two more quarterbacks. We'll see. Melvin Gordon says hi and Eckler walked on. I thought they drafted Eckler in like the 4th or 6th round. Was Eckler really a free agent? He was undrafted. You're right. I mean, at least they brought him in. Brennan Thompson or Xavier Thompson Bears for Dynasty. Give me Brennan Thompson. Give me Brennan. Just elite speed in the Mike McDaniel system. That's probably going to work out a little bit. The upside, I think, is worth betting on. Brennan Thompson runs a 4.26, I believe. He was the fastest man at the combine this year. Fucking elite speed. All right. Only 3 clicks left. It seems like the other teams are not taking quarterbacks, but I am at the back end of a 4-player stretch with only 2 QBs. The 3 teams in front of me, 2 of y'all are watching. So I imagine we're about to see a little run on quarterback here. Maybe not. Nope, James Conner. Fields off the board. I think I'd be in the market for Mac Jones, honestly. With Ricky Pearsall on this team and some weird vibes, he's one of those handcuffs that we've seen can deliver, has proven something. Yeah. Brock Purdy often misses time. I'll go Mac Jones. A fair click in this format for sure. But The Niners feel like a team that is worth betting on the backups this year, to be honest with you. That's where the Jake Tonjes argument I can't really push back too much on. I think that's a fair direction to go in. I'm gonna go Joe Flacco, but I'm hopeful that Elijah Surratt can make it back to me. I might have to go Jacoby Lane for the Lamar Jackson combo, but yeah, give me two really high-end backup QBs. Joe Flacco was averaging like 19 points per game when he filled in for Burrow last season. Flacco has no concern for letting it rip. He's got the weapons to bet on. Xavier Thomas, my bad. I don't know enough about Xavier Thomas. I know enough about Brandon Thompson to like Brandon Thompson. Xavier Thomas. Oh, it's with a Z. I was like, this is an edge rusher from Arizona. What? Not showing up on Player Profiler. I'm honestly not really sure. Of the Bears, I don't know enough about him. Give me Brandon Thompson. Brandon Thompson's way faster. Let's just do that. Yeah, as OC, the first camp, famous story, literally thought he was an assistant coach, didn't realize he was a running back. That's funny. I guarantee no drafter has taken these two players at the 1920 from the 12 hole this year. I'm curious who it's going to be. You go A.D. Mitchell. Do you have Geno on this team? You do. Herbert, Shuck, and Geno. A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor. Wow. Yeah. That is not very common. Good for you. I would not have done it. I'm not bold enough to do that. I don't get the balls to take A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor with Geno. I'm not even taking Geno. If you want to do it, I appreciate you calling bank, though. If you're going to do it, you might as well call bank. Never mind. Someone got Jameis. I do like Jameis in this format. I will say Jameis, I think, makes some sense. Looks like Surratt's going to still be there. I think it makes sense to go with Surratt. I don't think I am. Brother. We're coming up on almost 1 a.m. I don't think I am. It was going to be Jameis and Taylor. Got it. Yeah. I'm taking Surratt. Could go Evan Ingram or Pat Bryant, but we have Sutton already. I'll go Elijah Surratt for the Lamar Jackson combo. And here's the final team. We go with the 4-6-7-3. Lamar Jackson at the 102, Bo Nix, Mac Jones, and Joe Flacco as our QB4. Maybe who knows, we get a week 17 bring back Joe Flacco versus Lamar. Maybe, just maybe. Running back with Genty, Travis, Bucky, Tony Pollard, and J.K. Dobbins. Kalen Black for the CMC fade. But the top 5, all starters week 1. Hoping for the best with Bucky, but if he does pay off, he's definitely worth pick 74. A little 9-pick fall on Bucky. Wide receiver, though, stay very consistent every other round. Basically, I took a wide out starting in, what was it, the 4th round? Yeah, starting in round 4. We start off with Drake London, Zay Flowers, Brian Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall, Rashid Shaheed, and Elijah Surratt. Very balanced approach. I did stop with the receiver clicks after 167. And pretty much every single one we got at a discount, other than Brian Thomas, one pick above. A little discount on everyone. Not so much Say Flowers, like one pick past ADP. Who cares? But then tight end, pretty solid with Goddard at 146, Dalton Schultz 170, and then Pat Freiermuth 191. I'm good with it. Yeah. Don't see many holes. Don't see many problems. Hopefully my handcuffs work out just like they did last year, but who knows what the injury luck will have in store for us this year. But both of these teams need these backup quarterbacks desperately. Neither team has a good bet that their starter stays healthy for 17 weeks. That pretty much never happens. Okay, let's take a look at some other teams in this lobby. We have Supso, Spurs, and Underdogs. We also have Game Tight and Sladen. Yeah, fuck it. I got time. Zero RB only works with injuries. Have you entered into any weekly winners best ball? No, not yet. I want to see Game Tight's team with a running back where Mendoza was. They pay out every week, 20K to first. I'm more inclined to do the DFS during the season than play weekly winners without understanding the matchups. I'd much rather play it like that, but I'll probably do one or two on the live stream. 3005 score. I like my pick. How'd I do on my first Superflex draft of the 7 spot? We'll also take a look at pick 7. I think we'll start with Sladen. Not sure he was in here earlier. And then we'll do Game Tight. Just because it was so fucking weird. All right. Sladen at the pick 12 goes Justin Herbert, love it. Tyler Shuck, that's what we had in the last one, so gotta love it. Geno Smith, not my cup of tea, but worth it from a structural standpoint. Another starter. Not sure he's on the field, though, in the fantasy playoffs. But Jonathan Taylor, Jeremiah Love, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Gainwell, Jonathan Brooks, really good group of 5. Not bad. Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Quentin Johnston, Omar Cooper, Trey Tucker, Chris Bell, Darnell Mooney, A.D. Mitchell. The unique combos, Omar Cooper and A.D. Mitchell on this team. Very fun. And then some high spike week guys. Good up top. Very fun. Likely Juwan and Njoku, Mason Taylor. So a couple of stacks with Herbert as well. Not just QJ, but also Njoku. And then you did pull the trigger on Mason Taylor. Those last 2 clicks might have been worthless, but the team makes sense. Very fun team. Very legit. Yeah, not bad. I have no complaints there, Sladen. I like it. Makes a lot of sense. Game type goes Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and Fernando Mendoza. Sladen thinks would have been better to take a running back instead of Mendoza. And this running back room is not that inspiring, just a shit ton of handcuffs. But they are valuable ones. Isaiah Pacheco in Detroit. That's a good backfield. Keaton Mitchell in the Chargers backfield. That one's a good one. Tyler Algier. Arizona's not a good backfield, but we used to take Algier in the 8th round back in March. So maybe you know something. Brian Robinson. Atlanta's a good backfield. I love Tank Bigsby in Philly's backfield. That's a good one. Singleton, also one of my boys in Tennessee, could just win the job. But I'd rather just bet on Pollard. Mike Washington in Vegas behind Genty. Good luck. And then Jordan James and San Fran. I mean, are they all some of the more valuable handcuffs to own? Yes, without a doubt. But holy shit, man. When the fuck are they getting in the lineup before week 7? You know, like And that's optimistic. Like maybe in week 7. Damn. Good luck. Luther Burden, though. Roma Dunze, DK Metcalf, Mekhi Lemon, Zachariah Branch, and Caleb Douglas, Bowers, and Loveland. There it is. I was like, how the fuck is the receiver room this bad? There it is. I mean, there is the mega Caleb stack on this team. That you got to like. You got Burden, Rome, and Loveland with Caleb. That's pretty legit. That's pretty dope. That's awesome. But comes at a price. Also with Bowers. The running back room is just so fucking shaky. But I guess all you need is 2. All you need is 2. I wish you luck, man. That is bolder than I'd be willing to go. But how many running backs in a row did you take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. And then you went Branch, Jordan James, Caleb Douglas. Damn. All right. Anthony says, hope we both advance. Anthony was in at Spurs. We also had, I think I'm just going to go in order. That way I don't miss anyone. No offense. I just don't want to skip someone. We got underdogs in here. Says points per projection is atrocious, says A-Rod. $4,682 for Underdogs Anonymous. Drake May, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun, and Cousins. I guess that's fine. Deshaun might actually be the guy you need in Cleveland. Maybe even Kirk Cousins. But I imagine they're both the front runners to start week 1, and then they come off the field down the stretch. Kenneth Walker, Travion Henderson, Kyle Monangai, Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, and Samaje Perine. So kind of falls off a little quickly there, but maybe Kamara and Samaje do matter. I don't know about Perine, though. Perine's hard to see the major case for, other than just like, straight injury. But I don't know about Samaje. Amon-Ra, Nico, Ladd, Shakir, Diggs, Hurst, Ridley, and Malik Washington might have like 1 too many receivers, but it's a really good room. Like these 6 feel great. So not sure you need 8 in this format, but not bad. You can also start 4 wideouts every week. Tyler Warren, TJ Hawkinson, a little thin, but good up top. Yeah, fairly balanced. I think maybe 1 too many receiver, but maybe pick 210 instead of that, or maybe instead of Ted Hurst or someone, maybe another tight end, perhaps. Because only Tyler Warren, TJ Hawkinson. I love Warren, but Hawkinson doesn't feel like a great tight end too to be done with. Anyways, quarterback room though is very legit. Team pretty solid. We got Spurs in here. Now I'll hit the Spurs team. Burrow and Jackson Dart, only 2 in the field general. Don't see that too often, but don't think it's the end of the world. It is a little risky though. I think in Superflex you should take 3. Derrick Henry, Bishal Tootin, Ramondre, RJ Harvey, James Conner, Kimani Vidal. Kind of falls off fast, but maybe Ramondre, RJ Harvey are guys I should be taking more of. Neighbors, Pickens, Higgins, Parker Washington, Pittman, Higgins, again, the double Higgins, Juwan Jennings, Flournoy, and Cooper Kupp. A lot of receiver talent. I think 9 is too many. Yeah, 9 receivers. Make one of them a quarterback. Don't think you need 9 wideouts on this team. George Kittle, Hunter Henry, Kate Otten. That's not bad. Although some people are really hyping up Tongus today in the chat. The chat might disagree with your Kittle stance, but running back I think is good enough not to complain. It's not my favorite running back room in the world, but it's good enough. Quarterback, though, there's a lot of injury risk with both Burrow and Dart. Let's not pretend that they don't miss time. So a shaky approach to go 2 QBs, 9 wideouts. You also have Neighbors, might be one of the riskiest picks on the board, but also might be the steal of the draft. That's also possible. Okay, sorry about that. I blinded myself, honestly. Sorry about that. Soup's in here with Bryce Young, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, and McCarthy. Kind of got punished at quarterback, let's be honest. That's not that inspiring. Bryce Young, Rodgers, and then yikes. Gibbs, though, feels great. Breece Hall, Jadarian Price, Jalen Warren, number 4. JCM, number 5. Not my favorite click. Charbonnet and Katron Allen. I feel like one of these two doesn't need to be there. And for the price, I think I'd get rid of JCM. Personally, I'd get rid of JCM. Where would you go with it, though? Maybe a receiver, just because you only have 6. Lamb, Jefferson, Watson, Dobbs, Tesla, and Trey Harris. You can totally get away with 6. I don't think it's bad, but to only have 6 and be counting on Tesla and Trey Harris, that's risky. I think I would like to swap out JCM for a wideout there. Given the prices I know were available at receiver in this draft, I loved mine. There was always a good one on the board, in my opinion. I know you have 2 really good ones, but I think I might like a wide receiver 5 that's better than Tesla. Kelsey, Ferguson, Brenton, Strange. That's pretty legit, though. That's pretty nice. So, yeah, I think it's just a little structural decision. I would have changed maybe a quarterback earlier. And then I think I would have not taken JCM at 124. If it were me, and perhaps I'm wrong. I've been heavy fading JCM, and I might just be wrong about it. But I just don't think he's worth this high of a price tag. Jaden Reed was on the board. Downs, like, this is a good range of receiver compared to JCM. Yeah, I think this was the pick I would have swapped out. There's a lot of good clicks there. Like Jaden Reed versus JCM in best ball, I think is a pretty compelling Jaden Reed for me. But what do I know? We'll all find out later. Anyways, I think this was a fun lobby. Good luck to everyone involved. I think my team has a shot. I feel like I've been building a lot of very balanced, solid teams. However, I'm not sure if I have like that truly like perfect elite ceiling with all the correlation in terms of matchups down yet. It's still May, so I'm still trying to hone it down. But there's part of me that I feel like recently, since the little monologue, just to close it out here, if you can indulge me at 1 a.m. I feel like after the NFL draft, I had a slow adjustment to the new ADP and structure. I felt like some of the teams I drafted were not quite up to par compared to some of the teams I loved just a week prior, before the contests all closed and the NFL draft took place. So I felt like I've kind of been catching up. I feel like I've started to get my groove back. I feel like I've started to find and pinpoint directions to go in. I don't draft too many of these super flex teams, so this one was a fun exercise. And then tonight was the first night in the Eliminator. But look at that BBM team. I think I really had a good BBM team tonight on the free play. And I'll drop the timestamps below. Let me know what you think. I'll catch up with the chat real quick, and then we will say goodnight. Thoughts on Herbert losing his virginity and the media being mad? Herbert's going to win MVP this year. That's my take. LOL. Anything involving the Jets like 50-50 to be fully worthless? That's how I see it. That's why I just don't click them too often. Point projections get inflated by nerds taking 3 tight ends and 4 QBs. It's easy to project high with 4 QBs, but sometimes the 3 QB strategy does look pretty good when it's all said and done. Mike Washington is more than a handcuff, but later in the year is where his value will hit. I hope so. I don't see too much of that though. But who knows? Maybe it's more of a time split like the Seahawks were. But I don't view Mike Washington as good as like Charbonnet to steal the touches away from Genty. Genty's the problem with Mike Washington. Hope we both advance. I hope so too, Anthony. Good luck, brother. Remember, this is my first ever Superflex draft. Okay, A-Rod. Were you underdogs, right? I'm pretty sure. That team wasn't too bad. I don't think there was anything really wrong with that team other than kind of a thin tight end room, but you had Tyler Warren, so you can get away with it. Great stream. Always fun to listen to your takes and reviews. Thank you, Game Tight. Really appreciate it. Loved your BBM team. This one, not so much. Thanks for the fun. Thank you, Slayton. After the stream, I'm doing a Frenchie. Good luck, brother. Hope y'all have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, or I guess today. Yeah, officially, I'll see you today. Peace out.